Good evening and welcome to Gladiators TV on a glorious evening here at the Plymouth Coliseum. My name is Gareth Bemister, the presenter and the commentator for this evening's meeting here at the Coliseum. The Plymouth Gladiators start off their season against the Oxford Cheetahs. Now it's an interesting one, not only because it is the first meeting for these Gladiators and this Gladiators team, but also the Oxford Cheetahs have already started their season and they've been going quite well. This BSN series that we present this evening, the BSN Southern section of the series, has already started. Oxford have already raced against Poole, and it was a draw after 15 heats, and it forced the superheat. What a brilliant way to start the BSN series Southern. So what on earth could happen this evening? Well, it's a new look team for the Gladiators. There's a couple of names that are returning. Ben Barker is here again, Joe Thompson is here again, Alfie BOWTELL is here again, but also there are some new names in this team. Nicolai KLINDT is the one that all of the people have been talking about throughout the winter. At number one, at last this Gladiators team has a solid number one. And this evening, all of the questions that have been asked throughout the winter get answered. We find out this evening just how good this Gladiators team is going to be and what 2025 might look like for the Devon outfit. So, without further ado, I'm going to finish off this interview. I'm going to finish off this intro now, put my teeth back in, and we will start to think about some racing. Over to the lineups. So here they are then, those lineups for this evening. For the Gladiators, as mentioned, Nicolai KLINDT starts at number one and Alfie BOWTELL returns once again for number two. An intriguing Australian in at number three, Cluff, and Joe Thompson returns this year at number four. Captain Ben Barker at five, and Lasse FREDRIKSEN comes in at number six, and returning to his home team, Ben Trigger is at number seven. The team manager, as always, Garry May. Now for the visitors, the Cheetahs, Sam Masters is the captain at number one. Jonas KNUDSEN will be at number two. Jordan Jenkins at three. Dan Gilkes returns to Plymouth at four. Cameron Heeps five. Mitch McDIARMID is at number six. And at number seven, the exciting young Killeen. The team manager, of course, for the Cheetahs, Peter SCHROECK. So, that's it for the lineups. And now we will look forward to this intriguing tie here. The Plymouth Gladiators against the Oxford Cheetahs. Welcome here trackside at the Plymouth Coliseum. The Gladiators warming up for this big meeting, this first meeting of the season, of course, for the Plymouth Gladiators here. Gladiators taking on the Oxford Cheetahs in the BSN series. So we are down in the pits right now. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to Gladiators TV. And I say wherever you're in the world because Mitchell Cluff came up to the studio just before we started and mentioned that it's his dad's birthday today. And they are watching, they're staying up late to watch it over there in New South Wales. So, welcome to Gladiators TV. Hopefully Mitchell puts on a great display this evening for you all over there. And anywhere else in the world that you're watching. Welcome to all of our Oxford Cheetahs fans. If any of you are joining us this evening, I'm sure that you'll be keen to see your side bounce back after that 45-all thriller earlier in the week. And I'm sure that we've got some close speedway lined up for this evening. So, Nicolai KLINDT, the man on your screens right now, of course, he is the man who many people in the press were pleased to see, surprised to see. He's the man who is the highlight, really, of the signings from Garry May and Mark Phillips throughout the winter. Nicolai, of course, has done plenty of racing already in the Premiership so far this year, but what is he going to do here at the Coliseum? We really, really don't know. We know he's a quality rider. Looking forward to seeing what he comes up with, and here is Mitchell Cluff. The current reigning South Australian champion, of course, won that event over in Gilman in South Australia. Does his racing, or comes from New South Wales, has done his racing in Poland over the last few years, and now he's ready for the British League. He looked very, very fast in practice earlier on in the season. Cannot wait to see what Mitchell Cluff goes like here in the Plymouth Gladiators colours. So we've also got returning, of course, Joe Thompson and Alfie BOWTELL, who are here. And here is the away team. So Dan Gilkes returns to the Plymouth Coliseum. Of course, he raced here for a couple of seasons not so long ago. And Dan's also been doing a lot of racing so far this season. So he comes to the meeting ready and raring to go. And he'll want to impress, certainly. Sam Masters, another rider that races in the Premiership, but goes well here for the Oxford Cheetahs. He's the man that will pretty much be the one that Nicolai KLINDT needs to take points off of this evening if the Gladiators are going to get their season off to a good start. And Luke Killeen has gone well down here. He's getting ready. Cameron Heeps, lots of Aussies in this team. Also looking very determined this evening for what's going to happen. Just out of picture, Garry May's with us here. So Garry, here we go. Start the season. Are you nervous? Are you excited? What's the feelings right now?
Nah, just want the boys get out on track, see how they go, and this is so we can win the match.
There's so many unknowns, isn't there? Because there's new riders like Mitchell and Nicolai, of course, new. We just don't know what's going to happen.
No, we don't. We just have to see where they're going. But I think they're capable of scoring points. You know what I mean? But Oxford are a good side, and let's see how we go at the end of the week, end of the night. I'll come and talk to you then. Yeah,
ideal. Cheers, Garry. Hopefully he'll be in a good mood, because he's always much nicer when he's in a good mood, isn't he? So that's up to the riders to do that. So this evening we will have commentary up in the commentary area. It'll be myself and Nigel Walrond, who also returns once again for 2025 at Gladiators TV. So the pair of us will be talking you through this meeting this evening, and we are very much looking forward to it. Hopefully you're picking up the fact that this new look Gladiators team, with some of the old riders that have gone very well, Joe Thompson, Alfie BOWTELL and Ben Barker, joined by these other 4 riders. It really is an unknown, but it's very exciting. Last thing I will say before I dive up to the commentary box is that there is a big crowd in here in the Coliseum this evening, which is great to see. Really good crowd have packed in for this first meeting. There is a new hype man who is doing the job on the mic as well up there, who's making sure that the crowd are ready and raring for this meeting. So looking forward to seeing what this race meeting is going to produce. Right, I'm going to leave the pit area now. I'm going to head on up to meet Nigel, I think, up in the commentary box, and very much looking forward to this race meeting. Nice to see you again, Nigel. Better late than never.
Yeah, just doing my other job, commentating on Exeter Chiefs this afternoon, so hot-footed it down the A38, and nightmare getting in here, which is great because it means we've got a fantastic crowd. There's big crowds of queues of cars waiting to get in, spectators, so fabulous for the promotion to start the season with a really good turnout. And what about the weather? After we were absolutely in a monsoon in Plymouth yesterday, to see the conditions tonight and the track looking in such good nick is fantastic.
That'll be really interesting, actually, I think, Nigel, because last week there wasn't much material on the track for the practice day, as you'd expect, and it was very dry as well. But obviously with that rain, I think the first few heats will be quite interesting to see what the conditions are actually like.
Yeah, that's right. It's, I mean, I've literally just arrived, so I haven't had a chance to have a real close look. But bearing in mind, hats off to Mark Phillips and the rest of the track staff for getting it in such good nick. And seriously, if you wandered in here from up country, you wouldn't have any idea, really. We had torrential rain most of yesterday, and even 2 days before that, I think Plymouth was the wettest place in the UK. So, yeah, brilliant. Great to see.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And what about this man, Nigel? Nicolai KLINDT joining this team. I mean, for a die-hard Speedway fan like yourself, you must have been delighted to see that name on the list.
Well, I was on holiday a couple of weeks ago, and I went to the championship pairs at Workington, and it was so great to see Nicolai and Ben Barker doing such a great job. And it's so nice. I know Nico Cavasi was a number 1, but we hardly saw him, and now we've got a proper number 1 who's really going to hit some big points for the Gladiators. It's what they've needed. It was such a shame when Nico Cavasi last season, because when he did ride and wasn't injured, he showed what he could do. But he just had those injury problems picked up in pre-season in Argentina, and I think the fans have got good reason to be really excited with the signing of Nicolai, and he should really lead this team. And Ben Barker, what a great start of the season for him, reaching the semis in both the pairs and the championship individual. So great to see him back fit and on form and loving his Speedway again.
Yeah, I think that when you look down, now that the Gladiators have put together this sort of team, a more traditional team. Last year, of course, the reserves were very powerful with Joe Thompson and the Aussie there.
Jacob Hook.
Jacob
yes,
Hook.
yeah.
Out of sight, out of mind, that was
yes.
Nigel. Yeah, sorry, Jacob, if you're watching, but yeah, they were a great pairing. But this year, it's sort of strength through the whole team, and there's pairings in this meeting tonight, right the way through. I mean, I mentioned there, Sam Masters, versus Nicolai KLINDT is going to be mouth-watering.
Yeah, I mean, Oxford obviously know Scott Nicholls this year, which has been a blow to their team-building hopes, but they've started really well. They had a good knockout cup win over Scunthorpe, and I enjoyed watching their match with Paul during the week, and you know, them and Paul are going to be up amongst it again. I think it's especially with Sam Masters leading them. I'm really interested in Lasse FREDRIKSEN. I think that's a really clever signing by Garry May. He's starting at reserve, but he's gone well around this track before, and if he comes to the party this season, I think Gladiators going to have a really strong reserve there, along with Ben Trigger, who's back on his home turf and a better for a season away at Redcar, and he picked up a lot of experience there.
Point to prove as well, Ben Trigger, let's be honest. He has got a point to prove, and he looked rapid at the practice day, and so did Lasse FREDRIKSEN actually. And Lasse's scored points for Edinburgh before, everywhere he's gone.
I imagine Ben's a bit tired as he's riding in Pardubice in the Czech Republic yesterday, or at least he had 3 rides before the meeting was sadly abandoned. But I mean, that is quite strong opposition for him and Ace Piper in that meeting, but it's been a great experience for him. And he's obviously back here tonight, and looking forward to an opening match of the season. I said the weather is just glorious, isn't it? This is what you want at the start of the Speedway season. Yeah, absolutely. Where the sun's out, the crowd are here, the Polish sausage cooking is once again doing a roaring trade as well. The hype man is doing a brilliant job as well, getting everyone up and ready for this meeting. It feels nice, it feels good, it feels like an event. And there feels like, looking at social media and bits and pieces, there's a real good buzz, I think, around the Gladiators this season. It's been quite a long winter, and and it was fairly slow progress with the team building initially as they tried to put the bits and pieces together, and then suddenly the name Nicolai KLINDT coming out of the hat, and I think that's really made people excited and looking forward to this season, and let's see what the Gladiators can do. It's another interesting league, isn't it? There's some good riders in there again. Berwick have got 2 former Grand Prix riders, obviously Killeen out of action at the moment, and Craig Cook, not sure what's going on there, but they look stronger than last year. Edinburgh have started well with a win in the Scottish Cup away at Glasgow, which takes some doing, and the usual hitters, Oxford, Poole, Redcar, Glasgow. It's going to be a really interesting and exciting league, I think. Yeah, definitely. And there hasn't been much racing at this level so far, but Oxford, of course, have had 2 meetings already. So we sort of know where they are. They absolutely smashed Scunthorpe at their place. And that looked like when I saw that, I don't know about you, Nigel, when I saw that score come through, I feared then, because obviously Oxford and Poole both good speedway clubs, and that's who we've got drawn in this BSN series. It's funny because I think every season I find myself saying, well, Cameron Heeps is crucial to this team, whichever team he's in, and again he's almost like the man filling in for Scott Nicholls in a way. Jordan Jenkins as well. Jonas KNUDSEN's an interesting one because he hasn't quite hit the potential I think people thought he might have, and Dan Gilkes, well, you expect him to go well round here tonight. It's an interesting side. Reserves. Mitch McDiarmid, we saw him get a couple of points, I think, against Paul the other night, so he'll enjoy his battles with Mitch Cluff, I'm sure, the Gladiators' new Australian signing, and Luke Killeen, well, he's another one who goes really well around this track, so this should be keenly contested tonight. Yeah, absolutely. Jordan Jenkins, actually, is a rider that seems to be in great form at the moment. Again, he's been in the Premiership and scoring well. Yeah, paid 8, I think he scored this week, so he's going really well. And to have him in the middle of that Cheetahs team in such good form, I think he's another rider that could do a lot of damage to the Gladiators. Well, that Ipswich-Birmingham league meeting at Perry Bar a couple of weeks ago, I mean, it was Jenkins and Dan Thompson, of course, former Gladiator, who saved Ipswich that night, really. The star-studded top 5 of Ipswich didn't really fire, and Jenkins and Thompson came to the party and secured them the victory, and since then the whole Ipswich team is going well. As you said, Jenkins is a big part of that, and Oxford will be hoping he can, he's in a heat leader role, they'll be hoping he can repeat those goods in the championship. Okay, you sat down, you
Yeah, great stuff. Look, we're looking forward to this, I think, Nigel. I think
Yes. I say, but the championship pairs really whetted my appetite. That was a great meeting, really well run, some great racing, and it's great. It's great to get the season back underway. And of course we've got the Centurions as well this year, which is an additional bonus to the action here at the Coliseum, and looking forward to that. Looks a really good team that's been put together as well. So yeah, hopefully we're going to get lots of cracking meetings here this year.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope it's going well, and the crowd are being G'd up still here. They're being worked up into a frenzy a little bit here. I don't know what's... Yeah, we're waiting at the moment. It's just gone 7 o'clock, so bikes will be on track at any moment. But at the moment, there's a heck of a job going on getting the crowd ready for this.
Well, whether there's a slight delay because of the queues outside, I'm not sure. But certainly when I arrived 15-20 minutes ago, there was a lot of people still to get in, which I said is great to see.
Yeah, I can't quite see from where we are, but you can see there are still people coming in through the gate over there. So, yeah, very possibly that's the problem. Nice problem to have.
Well, it's great, isn't it, for Mark Phillips and all the people who work so hard here to be rewarded with a great turnout on opening night. I'm sure there were a few prayers being said yesterday when the rain was coming down, but they've done a great job, and not just the sun now, but the wind today has really helped dry this track up. And as I said, it's looking in really good condition.
Yeah, there's been a few changes to the track, and we'll sort of talk a little bit about that in a moment. But just on the last note on live Speedway, of course, we present Gladiators TV and the live stream, but there really is nothing like being at a Speedway track. You just don't get the same atmosphere, the same feel, the same smell.
Yeah.
So it's great to see so many people here, and if you are watching at home and joining us on the live stream, we will do our best to capture that atmosphere. But if you really want to go and capture this atmosphere, get your backside trackside.
Oh yeah, nothing like being there in person, is there? I was going to go to Poole Oxford last night, and very sad to see that one bite the dust due to the awful weather. But the championship pairs was brilliant because there was a smattering of Gladiators fans there, but like Redcar brought a whole coach load of people. There's a lot of Glasgow fans there, lots of Edinburgh. It was almost like going back to the old this is going back a long time, but the old British final at Coventry, where all the tracks, the riders represented, all turning up, in the car park at Brandon. It had that sort of feel to it at Workington, and it's great to see. I do really feel the sport's on and up at the moment.
Yeah, that's great. That's great news. And bikes are on track here, and they're being warmly received by this crowd. It has to be said. The Bar Bandits are in full force over there on Bend 2, I can see. And first look at this track with bikes on it. So in a moment we will have the riders introduced to this crowd, and no doubt they will be cheered enthusiastically. But I just mentioned about the back straight there, or the changes. There's been a couple of metres width added to the back straight.
Yeah, so it looks different even from here.
Yeah.
We're on the wrong side of the track here, but this is my first, apart from driving past it on the on the A38, this is my first chance to have a look at it, and it definitely looks wider. There's like a nice bit of banking going into that third turn, and hopefully we should see some great overtaking and racing.
There's lots of the riders last week obviously were here practicing, or most of them actually, and they were all reporting that it was faster. I mean, you don't know about racing lines and things until you're racing on it, but certainly with regards to speed, it looked a lot faster, and the riders were saying as much.
Well, one or two of the nasty crashes last year happened when riders were funneling into that third bend, didn't they? So to have extra width there would be pretty excellent. I remember that awful one with Ben Barker when he came to grief. So that'll be good, and it gives that space for riders to power around the outside on turns 3 and 4, and hopefully likes of Barker and KLINDT can make good use of that. Though the way Nicolai KLINDT gated up at Workington, if he keeps up that sort of gating, he's not going to be behind too many riders this season.
We can, from a Gladiators perspective, we can only hope, and I say that because we are Gladiators TV, and there is a slight bias, but we do make a conscious. We know that there are people perhaps watching who are Cheetahs fans, or anything else for that matter, and we will always make a conscious attempt to be impartial.
We love our speedway, don't we? Whoever's riding, we love our speedway.
Absolutely.
As you say, obviously it is Gladiators TV, but we'll certainly be singing the praises of Oxford if they're doing well tonight.
Yeah, so we make no apology if we do sound slightly biased, but we are both stood here with Gladiators coats on, but we'll do every effort to remain impartial for your viewing pleasure. If you are joining us as an Oxford fan, please don't get too cross if we get excited because of the Gladiators doing well. But I was saying before, Nigel, that Mitchell Cluff's dad, it's his birthday today.
Oh wow!
And they've all stayed up to watch over in New South Wales.
Oh,
so, so there we go.
Enjoy the listening and then ungodly time of night, no doubt. But
yeah, so here we go. The Cheetahs are being introduced. Mitch McDiarmid and there's Cameron Heeps and Henry Atkins stood next to him there. Dan Gilkes.
Good to see him back and fit again.
And there's Jenkins, who we mentioned before. And Jonas KNUDSEN. And the number one, Sam Masters, who will be needing to bag a lot of points, I would suggest, this evening, given the enthusiasm of this Gladiators outfit.
It's going to be interesting this year because in the last couple of seasons, heats 13 and 15 have been where Oxford have been incredibly strong, and you need to have a big lead going into that. And I'm not saying Jordan Jenkins or Cameron Heeps can't replicate Scott Nicholls, but it's certainly away from home. You wouldn't expect it to be quite so effective.
Absolutely. So here are the Gladiators, and we've got Ben Barker, who's been introduced there, and there is Mitchell Cluff. Our first look at Mitchell. He's just been wrong named on the live mic. So Alfie BOWTELL there, and there he is, Nicolai the Flying Dane.
KLINDT, yes.
And I think the riders are buoyed by it as well, Nigel. I think that they, when they were asked about it on the press and practice day, they were excited to have a good quality number one as well.
And I think if we could have had a quid for every interview us or Andy or someone else did last year where one of the Gladiators riders talked about missing the number one, then I think we could have had a good party at the end of the season. So that showed in those interviews how much they missed Nico Cavati. And it was so frustrating, as I said, because when Nico did ride, he showed what a good signing he was, but he just never really recovered from those injuries suffered in Argentina. And the Gladiators did really well to do what they did during the season, even when they had Cavati missing.
Yeah, they certainly performed really well. It was a gritty performance from all of them, really. So last word here before we get going is for we were talking about the track work that's been going on, and Mark and his team have again worked really hard. And again, all the riders last week were quick to share their appreciation of Mark's hard work, and Mark and his team and their hard work throughout the winter. And there's a big crowd here to reward them for that. And there's sponsorship opportunities as well. So there's an opportunity for anyone out there to get involved in this team. And people that were within the team seem very proud of it. So it's an opportunity to be part of a team that is a very proud Speedway organisation.
Yeah, and they're still looking, as far as I know, they're still looking for a main team sponsor. So unless something's changed in the past few days, but that would be a big help for the Gladiators. But I'm sure Mark Phillips, I don't know if we'll get a chance to speak to him at some point tonight, but I'm sure he'll be delighted with this opening night turnout. Sometimes seasons take a little while to get going, but this is great as the first one, and maybe an Easter start. Sometimes you feel that some tracks around the country start a bit too early when you're turning out in March and it's still freezing cold and wet, and Easter weekend with the sun out. I think that's the perfect way to start a Speedway season.
Yeah, well, it's certainly done the trick tonight because, as we've mentioned, the crowd's big, the sun's out, and we are on the verge of getting this 2025 Plymouth Gladiators season underway. So, yeah, sponsorship opportunities, I'm sure, are still available if you're interested in getting involved in this team. It's a team that really does attract, as you can see from the screen, it does attract a good crowd, and very proud as well because of we're down here in Devon on a bit of a limb. What's the nearest club to here? It's probably Poole, isn't it?
Yeah, Poole.
Which is a long way away.
Yeah, it's a good, what, two and a quarter hour drive, something like that, on a good run.
Yeah, so definitely a sleeping giant, perhaps.
That sun's going to get quite low, isn't it? It's right in our eyes at the moment. It shouldn't affect the riders, maybe a little bit, and they turn out of the first bend, but it won't take too long before it disappears behind the trees up there. But
I think it's probably at its worst now, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, it's probably at its worst.
Mr. Barker, he's been a busy boy. He's, as I said, he rode in the championship pairs, the individual. He was part of along with Alfie BOWTELL, the Newcastle Diamond Select that rode up at Redcar. That was good track time for both of those two. And as I said, certainly watching him in the two championship big meetings, he looked in good nick, and they need him to be, really, because he needs, going with such a high scoring or high average number one, then you need someone like Ben Barker to really be a really strong second heat leader. And as I said, what I've seen so far this season, he looks like he's very much going to do that.
Yeah, he's keen for bike time. It seems to be what he's. He always talks about getting bike time. More bike time is what he wants, and he started his season really well and looked fast down here on the practice day. Although they all did, to be honest. It's very difficult to gauge on a practice day. They all just looked like they were absolutely flying round. But Ben's up here. I'm sure we'll talk to Ben this evening. He's never shy. So.
Yeah, when you've got three other bikes on the track, it's a bit different to going around on your own, isn't it? But
well, and at this level as well, I mean, Championship Speedway is, most of them ride in the Premiership as well.
Yeah, that's right.
So they're all going to be fast. I don't know if any of these people are here for the first time. I think the announcer or the stadium announcer was trying to find out if anyone was here for their first time, but hopefully.
Yeah, let's hope so. Well, one thing you're guaranteed here is close racing, isn't it? Because of the size of the track, it's always very close, plenty of action. It's not well strung out like some tracks around the country, and it's usually you've got to keep your eyes on it for the full 4 laps. And also because of the size of the track, if you make a mistake, the fence comes up very quickly towards you. So that also adds to the drama and action.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here we go. Sam Masters is the first one to appear from the pits, and he will be joined, of course, very quickly here by Jonas KNUDSEN in this opening heat. So here we go.
I didn't hear who won the toss, but Masters has gone into 4. Would that suggest that Gladiators won the toss and took 1 and 3? I know Ben quite likes to go 2 and 4, doesn't he? So we'll have to find out at some point.
Yeah, it's not clear at this point who won the toss, but certainly Sam Masters off the outside here will mean that Nicolai KLINDT is on the inside of him.
Yeah, Ben's the skipper, so there's a good chance that maybe he would have wanted 2 and 4. So, but
maybe. So we are speculating there. Obviously.
Totally.
But, so here is our lineup then for heat number 1. Off the inside here in blue is Alfie BOWTELL, and for the Cheetahs in yellow there off of 2 is Jonas KNUDSEN, and then we've got Nicolai KLINDT in red, and then off the outside there Sam Masters in white. Gladiators versus Cheetahs, a very difficult looking opening heat here for all concerned, really.
Good to see Barry Bishop here, the Isle of Wight promoter, who of course is looking after the Centurions team this season. So, a great supporter of Speedway over on the island.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So here we go then. Heat number 1 is at the tapes, ready. And tapes go up, away they go, and the 2 Cheetahs have made the best of the start. Here's Masters, who leads in that white helmet. He leads down the back straight. Sam Masters followed there by Jonas KNUDSEN in that second place. So it's the Oxford Cheetahs at the moment who lead.
Yeah, gates 2 and 4 looking really quick there. Nicolai KLINDT has swept past his teammate there, Alfie BOWTELL, to take 3rd place. But Jonas KNUDSEN has done a 360 turn and hit the deck. So the Gladiators have moved into 2nd and 3rd places unfortunate there for Knudsen.
So Knudsen is trying to remount. In fact, he has remounted, but he has got Sam Masters right up behind him. Of course, he will keep going here in case anything were to happen to BOWTELL. But around they come for this final bend. It's going to be a win for Sam Masters here, but crucially, second and third is packed out by the Plymouth Gladiators pairing of Nicolai KLINDT and Alfie BOWTELL.
Yeah, it was a great piece of gating there from the Cheetahs duo, looking on course for 5-1, but as I said, Jonas KNUDSEN just slightly overcooked it on that in the middle of the third and fourth bends, did a 360, thankfully he was okay and no one collected him on the way through, and Gladiators getting away really with the 3-3 there, but Nicolai KLINDT showed he's not scared to pass on this track.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a 3-all to start off here then. We've got a win there. A win in red. A win in white for Sam Masters. 3 points to him. 2 points to Nicolai KLINDT in red. 1 point to Alfie BOWTELL in blue for third. And fourth place there, Jonas KNUDSEN in fourth in yellow. 3-all. So here we go, heat 2 then. We move through to. And we have got coming to the line in this one the hometown hero, of course, Ben Trigger, who returns to the Coliseum with an enormous amount of pressure on his shoulders, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, he's he had a year away at Redcar and obviously won for Middlesbrough in the National Development League, but he's back. He's riding in both teams, Centurions and Gladiators. But he'll be glad of not having to do that long journey up to Redcar all the time. And as I said, one of the interesting people in this lineup is Lasse FREDRIKSEN.
So then the lineup here then for heat number 2. Off the inside here we have got Mitch McDIARMID in white. In red we have got Lasse FREDRIKSEN, and then in yellow we've got Killeen, and in blue we've got Ben Trigger here off the outside. So 2 and 4 look like the gates to have in the opening one. Well, we'll see how that goes here with Lasse and Ben coming out of 2 and 4.
And Mitch McDIARMID, I don't think he'll have ever ridden round here, so a first outing for him for the Cheetahs. So the start marshal just getting the riders up to tapes. And we're about getting away for heat number 2. It's 3 apiece at the moment.
So here we go then, they are at the tapes for heat 2, tapes up, away they go, and it's a much more even start. It's Lasse FREDRIKSEN that leads into that first turn, but Mitch McDIARMID's coming up the inside, Trigger goes round the outside, Ben Trigger is having a go here, holding them all up is the rider in red, and Ben Trigger is battling away on the outside.
Yeah, straight away showing the extra wide third bend there. Trigger had the room to go, will try and go around the outside of McDIARMID. McDIARMID's doing really well here for a first time around this trial. Ben Trigger suffered an engine failure, very disappointing when he was in third place there. He'll be gutted. Well, it looks like he's getting the bike going again, but out the front Lasse FREDRIKSEN looking like he's going to take the tapes, but he's still under pressure from the Australian.
He is all over him here at the end of this race. Mitch McDIARMID, he's only ever looked at this track, he's never ridden it, but look at him piling the pressure there on Lasse FREDRIKSEN, but Lasse FREDRIKSEN holds firm. He takes the win here in heat number 2. It's Mitch McDIARMID in that second place, and third place there Killeen, and problems for Ben Trigger, who looks deeply unhappy with things as he comes back to the pits, but that's a good win there for Lasse FREDRIKSEN. That keeps things even here on the night, but very impressive from the Australian there, Mitch McDIARMID.
Yeah, FREDRIKSEN, that's a great start to his Gladiators career, isn't it? He 53.80 is the time there, but I said he did very well when he came down here with Edinburgh last year. Ben Barker going straight out to congratulate him, as a good captain would. And just a shame for Ben Trigger, who's looking very competitive in third, and something going amiss with his machinery there.
So the results then of heat number 2, it was a win in red for Lasse FREDRIKSEN, 3 points to him, 2 points to Mitch McDIARMID in white, 1 point to Killeen in yellow, no score there for Ben Trigger in blue. It's another 3-all, which means that we're now 6-all after 2 heats. So then, heat number 3. And we get our first look here at the new Australian signing for the Gladiators, Mitchell Cluff. And he will be paired here with Joe Thompson, who knows his way around this place very, very well. So another interesting race here for heat number 3.
Yeah, and it's a strong Cheetahs pairing, isn't it? It's Jordan Jenkins and, of course, Dan Gilkes, who's had time here, a good rider around the Coliseum. So this should be a really good battle. As I said, like with Mitch McDIARMID, it's going to be interesting to see how Mitchell Cluff copes with this.
So here is the lineup for Heat 3. In blue off the inside here is Joe Thompson for the Gladiators. Jordan Jenkins off of gate 2 in white. Mitchell Cluff there off of gate 3 in red. And off the outside here in yellow will be Dan Gilkes. So Gilkes returns. Mitchell Cluff makes his debut. Joe Thompson returns. And Jordan Jenkins is flying. So
yes, it's got a good mix this heat.
It certainly has, yeah. It's very intriguing at the moment. Every single heat seems to be intriguing at the moment. I think that's probably part of the season start, really. But
so far at the moment, 2 and 4 look the best gates, so that's obviously what the Cheetahs have got in this race. So let's see how Joe Thompson deals with trying to stop the Cheetahs Geo getting away here. And you never know, Mitchell Cluff might get out the gate first.
So here we go then with heat number 3. It's tapes up, away they go, and it's much more even break this time, and it's the Gladiators pairing that lead on the first turn. It's Mitchell Cluff who leads. It's Mitchell Cluff who leads Joe Thompson, and there's a fall at the back for Dan Gilkes. Dan Gilkes has fallen. So we wait to see the red flags. The red flags and the red lights have come on. That's a shame from a Gladiators perspective, but Mitchell Cluff there looking very impressive for his opening ride.
What a gate that was from the Australian. Just hope Dan Gilkes is okay. He's sitting up against the air fence, so he almost tumbled across the track having let go of the machine, so I think he's all right. He might be a little bit winded, but yeah, Mitchell Cluff, two of them, to be honest, both gated beautifully there off traps 1 and 3, and that's just, as you said, it's a shame the race had to be stopped, but that looks that's great excitement or great promise there for the future for Mitchell Cluff and the Gladiators race jacket.
Yeah, so thoughts here with Dan Gilkes, who is being attended to at the moment. We shall wait and see. I think he is stood up at the moment, so that's good to see that Dan Gilkes is stood up. So sure he will be fine for later on in the evening. But Mitchell Cluff and Joe Thompson once again have got to try and make a gate like they did just then.
Please sit down up on this speed there, give them all a round of applause.
So heat 3 will be rerun. I wonder what that problem was with Ben Trigger there, because he stopped and then got going again, which usually suggests something very simple but frustrating.
Well, so we usually suggest you haven't turned your fuel on, but you seem to get quite a long way into the race for that to be the case. But
he did. There's Dan Gilkes. We've had another look here at what happened there, and yeah, Dan falling on in the entry of Ben 3.
He's okay, isn't he?
He looks fine.
To see. Yeah,
he does fine. So here is the replay. So look at that start from Mitchell Cluff. He very quickly got across the front of the whole pack, really. So let's have a look. Dan's pinched up on the outside there a little bit. He's sort of been pinched on the outside, really, going in there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Jenkins looks like he's in a bit of trouble there as well.
Did they sort of get in each other's way, almost, the Oxford Geo there? Did they almost go for the same bit of track? It was hard to see from the angle we've got on the opposite side, but they almost seemed to unsettle each other, didn't they?
Yeah, he's grown a lot of hair, Dan Gilkes, since he rode for the Gladiators, hasn't he?
Yes.
He's got a very different look.
Yeah, I thought that when I saw him interviewed the other night at when they were racing Poole.
Yeah, he was a real promise when he rode down here. He was a reserve, of course, down here, and then had an injury. I bet he broke his leg, didn't he?
Yeah.
Sort of through the season, which was a massive shame because he was such a quick rider. It was obvious he was going places, and has continued that trajectory. But so we've just got a bit of a delay here. I'm not sure what the delay's for. Not sure what's going on, really.
Yeah, he did a great job guesting for Oxford towards the end of last season, which is why they have picked him in their team this season.
the three remaining riders. So 2 minutes for the 3 remaining riders for heat number 3.
Yeah, on the 2 minutes now for the Mitchell Cluff, Joe Thompson and Jordan Jenkins, and just got to hope from a Gladiators point of view that the Plymouth Geo can produce the goods again.
Yeah, absolutely, and they looked confident in that one. Jordan Jenkins is ready to get going here. He's got his work cut out here.
No doubt he's gone back in and made changes, hasn't he, to try and give himself a better getaway from the tapes. So 6 points apiece here, but we thought it was going to be tight tonight, and nothing that's happened in the opening 2 heats changes that opinion.
No, it's yeah. We've been saying the whole time, the kind of rhetoric has been that it's so hard to call, and I don't feel like I'm any the wiser after watching the first 2 heats. So
not at all.
Strap yourselves in, guys. I think this could be a bit of a barnstormer this evening.
Well, it's a good group, isn't it, with Paul as well. And as I said the other night, Oxford Paul went to a super heat. And, you know, Gladiators, certainly last year, went very well at Oxford. They should be a different kettle of fish at Paul this year. Now they've got Nicolai KLINDT in their side, so that could be very close next Wednesday as well. So it could be an incredibly tight southern group.
Absolutely. So here we go then, the lineup for the rerun of Heat 3. There off the inside is Joe Thompson once again in blue, and his teammate off of 3 here, Mitchell Cluff, in red. And going alone for the Cheetahs off of gate 2 here, here's the rider in white, Jordan Jenkins, and tapes up, away they go. Jordan Jenkins has made a better start this time. Joe Thompson has swept him wide, and he's allowed a big space up the inside. Jordan Jenkins, and Mitchell Cluff has got in there, but he's still fighting away there. Jordan Jenkins has a great battle on for second.
Wow, this is a fierce battle. Mitchell Cluff, oh, and he's just gone underneath Jenkins. I think he might have just made a little touch on Jenkins. Jenkins has gone into the fencing on bend 2. He's obviously, I don't know if he's stuck under there. He's certainly not getting up. He's shaking his head. There's obviously, you know, it's really clear what he thinks of what happened there, but the referee has got to make a decision on that one. But
yeah, I think that that got very close. There was two riders trying to get into one bit of track, I think there, but yeah, the first aiders are working well to get to Jordan quickly.
Mitchell Cluff showing he's quite happy to mix it, wasn't he? He was putting in a great fight there.
Yeah, and this will be an interesting decision here. I mean, I don't know if we've got from where we're stood, we saw the incident from behind.
We've got a better view than the referee's got, I think.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah.
So let's have a look what Gladiators TV has picked up here. So into the corner they go there.
Cluff just touches him, but
from this angle, Jordan looks like he's
Cluff
on
is
that
very
white line.
tight on the white line, just drifts there, doesn't he?
And just here, so that is going to be a tight call, I would suggest. We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen here. In the meantime, of course, we can see Jordan Jenkins isn't up on his feet just yet, so that's the main consideration at the moment.
I'm not totally convinced that's a clear-cut decision. I think. Yeah, Jordan Jenkins' hand gestures showing, waving his arm through as if to say my wheel was taken away.
Yeah, he's clearly going to be not happy with that, but he is up, which is the main thing.
Just awaiting the decision. Trying to see where the exclusion lights are. So Garry May is out on track talking to Barry Bishop. Peter Schrock's just walking back with Jordan Jenkins. Sam Masters out there as well, joining in the conversation.
Oh, okay. So I'm just speaking to Jerry here, who's from Blue Monkey. So Jerry, tell everybody else what you just told me.
Okay. So if you're at home and not here at the meeting, there's a live watch party on Facebook, and you can add your comments, talk, and we're going to do some competitions and all sorts, and interact with all of the fans sat at home as well as the ones that are in the audience here today. So.
And that's on the Gladiators Facebook page.
Yeah.
Excellent. Get yourselves over there then and add your 2 pence worth. Has there been a decision?
2 minutes is on for the 2 remaining riders, but
Well, we'll wait and see who they are then, shall we? I can see that it's
Mitchell Cluff is out.
and it looks like Joe Thompson is starting, so I'm assuming that Jordan Jenkins...
Sorry,
has
3
been
remaining
excluded.
riders, not 2 remaining riders, beg your pardon. Yeah, well, I said it wasn't clear cut. I'm sure Oxford Cheetahs fans have a view on that if they're watching the stream, but you know, he kept a pretty tight line around that bend, Mitchell Cluff, and just drifted out a little bit, and then Jordan Jenkins ends up in the fence.
Well, I think that Jerry very timely pointed people towards the Facebook watch party, and I think that's just about to get very tasty over there on Facebook. So here is the lineup for the secondary run of Heat 3. Off of Gate 1 here, Joe Thompson. Off of Gate 3, Mitchell Cluff. And the riders have to go at race speed. They can't just poodle round and do wheelies. They do have to look like they're trying to score the 5 points. And of course they do have to complete the 4 laps as well.
Yes, of course, it is 2 riders, isn't it? I was right the first time.
So I'm. It's a moment where I wish I was looking at that Facebook group instead, to be honest.
Well, we've got a very experienced referee tonight, Craig ACKROYD, haven't we? Who's he's done many a Grand Prix, so you know, top-notch referee, and that was his decision. And well, bearing in mind the initial running of it was going to be a 5-1. This, unless something happens here, it's going to be a 5-0. So you could say, from a Gladiators point of view, a little bit of justice done there.
Having a 1 point missed probably makes it less likely that there'll be a superheat as well.
Yes.
Later on. But, so there we go. It's a win there for Joe Thompson, who brings it home professionally alongside Mitchell Cluff. And yeah, so a 5-0 for the Gladiators is received brilliantly here by this crowd. So well done to Joe Thompson, starting his season off here at Gladiators brilliantly, really. And the winning time was the slowest of the evening, which you'd expect, given the fact that he wasn't being pressured or pushed at all there. So the results then, the official results of Heat 3 there. Joe Thompson in blue scores the 3 points, 2 points to Mitchell Cluff, and then both Jordan Jenkins and Dan Gilkes falling in different circumstances and therefore scoring 0. 11-6 now overall, and yeah, that's a contentious issue to liven this up a little bit.
Just a little bit. As I said, before that heat went, looking at the strength of the Cheetahs, Gio, to come out of that for Plymouth with a 5-0, they'll be delighted with that. But certainly, no doubt about the Dan Gilkes exclusion, but the Jordan Jenkins one, I think there'll be a lot of social media debate over that one. And if you've got a Gladiators hat on, you'll think it was the right decision. If you've got a Cheetahs hat on, I think you'll have a very different view on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was one of those, wasn't it, that you get in every sport. So I'm sure that, yeah, I'm sure that's exactly how it'll be viewed at home.
The difficulty referees have, not just here, any track, is, you know, I don't know if he's got an eye on the footage, but from where they are, they just get one angle on it, and you know, we have a different angle to that on bend number 1 here.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we go then. Heat 4 is at tapes. We've got Ben Trigger once again here off of Gate 1 in blue. Failed to score in his opening ride after that stop. Luke Killeen off of Gate 2 in yellow. Ben Barker here for his first ride in red. And Cameron Heeps off the outside in white here for the Cheetahs. So Killeen and Heeps, they've got to try and undo a little bit of that damage that was caused by that no score in Heat 3. And they've got the 2 bends here to put a stop to that. So here we go then. Heat number 4 is go, and away they go. And Ben Barker's made a good start, but making a better one is Cameron Heeps. It's Cameron Heeps who leads. Barker and Trigger are packing out that second and third. So Luke Killeen will look to go round the outside, but look at Barker going right round the outside. He sweeps round the outside of Cameron Heeps.
Well, I said he's a man in form. That was a great piece of gating by Cameron Heeps to get over the top of Ben Barker, but Barker enjoying those 3rd and 4th bends, the remodeled 3rd and 4th bends, and sweeping around Heeps to take the lead. And he's looking very good out front at the moment, with Heeps in hot pursuit, and coming up in 3rd place is Ben Trigger.
So Ben Barker is pulling away here from Cameron Heeps, who's doing a great job in that 2nd place. Ben Trigger is working hard to keep Luke Killeen at bay in that fourth to secure a 4-2 and another heat advantage here for the Gladiators. It's going to be a win for the captain. It's Ben Barker who takes a win. Cameron Heeps in that second place, Ben Trigger third, and Luke Killeen out the back.
Yeah, great start to Ben Barker's league season. Very confident ride there and a lovely overtake on Cameron Heeps. And Ben Trigger will be delighted to have come home ahead of Luke Killeen. That'll give him a confidence boost after his engine problems in that first outing. And another good 4-2 for the Gladiators.
And of course he was in the points when he stopped as well, Ben Trigger, so he's certainly starting well here. So here's the results then of Heat 4. It was a win in red for Ben Barker, 3 points to him, 2 points to Cameron Heeps in white, 1 point to Ben Trigger in yellow. No score for Luke Killeen in yellow, and it's now 15 points to 8, 4-2 in Heat 4, 15-8 on the night. So here is another look at Ben Barker in action and taking that win. So the start here, Cameron Heeps made a great start off of Gate 4. Gate 4 seems to be good at the moment. And you can see here that Heeps gets across everybody and gets into that bend. But look at Barker here. He knows exactly what he's going to do. He goes straight for that outside, right round the outside. And then he's in front, and that's it. And then he sped away. So that is what this banking is here for.
It's here for Ben Barker, I think. But if anyone's going to make the most of it, it's going to be Ben Barker with moves like that. Great to see.
So we've got a track grade now, Nigel. So I think I'm just keeping an eye because one of our cameramen is around, and if he's down in the pits or if I get a nod from our director, I will see if I can get down into the pits. For now, I'll stay up here with you. And we'll see what this track is in. I mean, the track looked great, didn't it? But I'm getting the thumbs up, so I'll leave you up here for now, Nigel, and I'll go down to the pits and I'll see if I can find some people to talk to.
We'll find out who won the toss as well. So there's Mitchell Cluff just having a look at his machine. It's a confidence-boosting ride for him in his opening outing. Looked like he's ridden many laps around this track. Just making a little bit of an adjustment to his bike, but I'm sure he was pretty happy with the way it went. And as the sun dips behind the trees over on the far side, the tractor's going round. Let's cross to Gareth in the pits.
I've never seen such enthusiasm for a mug before.
A very happy looking Ben Barker. I'm just going to go and find out what happened to Ben. Ben, well done for getting off the mark. But what happened in the first one, first of all?
Oh, it's just a weird one. Went into bend 3 and my car came out. I've never had it. That was once when I was running a race. It's just one of those things that happened, but obviously frustrating. We were on a 4-2 then. It was obviously it just puts the team in a good position. Obviously gets me points on the board. So yeah, just a bit annoying. But obviously in that one lifted a bit too much at the start, but kept my kind of tucked in and found my groove, and thought I was slowly catching the front too. So kind of getting back in the groove now, and just changed a couple of things to set up, and should get dialed in pretty quick.
Keeping it simple, Ben. You versus Killeen this evening, and that's now 1-0.
1-0 technically.
Well, yeah, but we won't count that first one.
Yeah, no. I've always got a bit of fire in my belly with Killeen. It's just one of those things I've got, and yeah, obviously I was leading him in the first one, and then obviously it's just got into have the stoppage. But yeah, obviously now I've actually got out and put my head down. Yeah, I'm beating the reserves as I should be. So yeah, if I can carry that on through the night, I'll be happy with myself.
Great stuff. Well done, Ben. Good start. Great start. Keep it up. Keep it up. So we will go and quickly see Mitchell in here. Mitchell, well done. That's the first race out the way. We've mentioned your dad as well. So do you want to say hello to Dad?
Yeah, I know I've got a lot of family and friends back home watching, and it's my dad's birthday today. So happy birthday, Dad, and that one was for you.
Ideal, yeah. I mean, it was a strange one to start with, Mitchell. You made an absolute blinder, and you must have thought, well, this is easy, this British Championship lock.
Yeah, no, when I made that start, I was like, yeah, perfect, here we go. And then the red light come on, and I was like, damn, we've got to do it again. And then didn't make it, made a good move, and Joe helped me out in the first corner and run him up. And he kept trying to lean on me, but I wasn't giving him any inch. So I just pushed him up a little bit, didn't touch him, and, he laid it down. So good to get a 5-0 for the team, and we just need to keep chipping away, and hopefully today.
It was an interesting incident because of those ones go either way, don't they?
I wasn't very, like, you know, I was a bit nervous about it, to be honest, but I knew I didn't touch him, but I was just hoping the referee also seen that. But we got the decision, and yeah, 2+1 in the bag, so go on from here.
Great stuff, Mitchell. Well done. Keep it up. Excellent ride for your opening ride. So we'll have a quick look around here. I'm just having a look in the pits there. Obviously, the Oxford Cheetahs now have got a bit of a repair job to do, having had a couple of rides there. But I think we'll go and speak to the captain quickly if he's willing to speak to us. And Dan, guys, do you mind if we have a quick chat? Both of you, yeah. So we've got Sam Masters and Dan Gilkes. I'll start with you, Sam. You got out the gate and won it, and yeah, that's what you've got to do this evening, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Heat 1, it's all about the start, really, and made a good start, which made life easy. So track was nice. Mother Nature's done a good job of getting this ready today.
Yeah, excellent. And Dan, not the opposite really for yourself. Went wrong up there. Do you know what went wrong?
Yeah, I just lost my leg into the corner. I come in and I collected Jordan on me and just lost into the corner. So it's my own fault. I didn't make a gate, so I've only got myself to blame. So we'll get out the gate in this next one, and it won't be a problem.
Excellent. Well, we know you go well here, Dan. So you know the track's changed considerably since you rode it regularly. But is it still familiar once you get on it?
I haven't even done a lap yet, mate, so I don't even know what it's like. But we'll find out this next race. But everything's easy when you're in front, so just focus on the gate and get some fresh air.
Okay, thank you. And Sam, there's a captain. You've now got a bit of a job to do to sort of get everyone up and going after that 5-0 and then a 4-2. What happens here?
Well, we've made a few little mistakes now, and we've all done a race, so we need to... we know where we're at, so we've got to try and make some starts. It's very important on this little track, and go from there.
Yeah, well, Sam, good luck for tonight, and obviously great start for yourself on a personal note, but good to see the Cheetahs in good form in those first two heats at least. Well done, cracking stuff. So that's the Cheetahs. I'm just going to have a quick look on the circuit, Paul, to see how we're getting on out there, because we've been caught out before, haven't we? So the Cheetahs and the Gladiators, there's a different feel in both of those pits. There are no tractors on the circuit at the moment, so I think, Paul, what I'm going to do is leave the pits and go up to the commentary post.
Thank you very much, Gareth. It's good to hear the views of Mitchell Cluff and Ben Trigger and the Oxford duo as well. But as you said, Sam Masters made a great start to the meeting individually, but his team on the back foot at the moment. Mitchell Cluff had interesting view on the Jordan Jenkins clash. Didn't feel he touched him.
Well, he wouldn't do, would he?
No. I said it's very hard to say from the angle that we had whether there's any contact at all, but he's a confident lad, isn't he, Mitchell? Great to see.
Yeah, he is. Dan Gilkes there, I sort of spoke to him just then, as you heard, and this will be interesting to see how Dan bounces back, because there was a tone in his voice of a little bit of, he was cross of himself.
Yeah, he's where are we? He's not out until he's got a little wait yet, hasn't he? Heat 7. Yeah. But Sam Masters out in this one against Mitchell Cluff and Joe Thompson, so this should be a good battle. And Jonas KNUDSEN, who was looking good in that first race until he did his 360 spin. This should be a live little battle as we resume after the track grade.
Yeah, once again the track looking absolutely tip-top here, and interesting to hear Sam Masters talking about how good the track is as well, actually.
Yeah, he always likes it down here, doesn't he? He's always pretty complimentary.
So here we go then, this meeting gets going again here at heat number 5, and we have got off the inside here in yellow for the Cheetahs, Jonas KNUDSEN, and he's joined in white off of gate 3 by Sam Masters, and then Mitchell Cluff off of gate 2 in red, and Joe Thompson off of gate 4 in blue. So only KNUDSEN has been beaten here by an opponent, so and he fell, so something's got to give here.
Yeah, let's see what Mitchell Cluff's gating's like alongside Sam Masters this time, who of course is one of the best gaters in the championship.
Yeah, and he made a flyer from gate 4 in his opening ride, and gate 4 has been fairly kind. Cameron Heeps, of course, made a flyer off of there in the last heat as well, but then got overtaken. So here we go then, heat number 5. And tapes up, away they go, and it's Oxford Cheetahs, Sam Masters that hits the bend first. He's doing a good captain's job here, but coming round the outside is Joe Thompson. He's having a go at Jonas KNUDSEN, but this is exactly what the Oxford Cheetahs would have needed at this point in the meeting.
Another great gate by Sam Masters. He was such a long way ahead going into that first bend, and KNUDSEN is repeating what he did in Heat 1, but this time staying with the machine and, you know, enjoying going around this Coliseum track. Joe Thompson a fair way behind, and Mitchell Cluff at the back. But yeah, spacing out here, and this is a great way for the Cheetahs to hit back, looking on course for 5-1.
Yeah, Sam Masters making an excellent start. He's absolutely flying into this bends 1 and 2 as well. He looks very, very confident here out in front. He's going to take his second win of the evening. It's Sam Masters who takes the win, and it's an important 5-1 here for the Oxford Cheetahs.
He goes around like he's on rails, doesn't he? He's such a smooth, classy rider, Sam Masters. Makes it look so easy out front. And the track's beautifully smooth tonight, isn't it? It's a real great surface to be racing on, and Oxford will be delighted with that, cutting the deficit just to 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the results then of heat number 5. It was a win in white for Sam Masters. 3 points to him, 2 points to Jonas KNUDSEN in yellow, 1 point to Joe Thompson in blue, no score for Mitchell Cluff in red. It was a 5-1 there to the visitors, which brings it very tight again, 16 points to 13. So very, very quickly we've gone from 15-8 to 16-13 there. So let's have a look here. Sam Masters, as you said before the race, Nigel, Sam Masters is one of the best skaters in the league, and that is exactly why he's thought
he was
one of the best
so far
ahead,
ahead, wasn't he, going into that first bend? Absolute quality gating. And as I said, then it's a masterclass of riding around this track, isn't it?
Yeah, he'd done the hard work by then. Joe Thompson had a little nibble at KNUDSEN, but yeah, Jonas KNUDSEN's another quality rider there and did what he needed to do to bring home that 5-1.
Should be entertaining at the end of the meeting if Clint and Masters are both in Heat 15. We should have 2 more battles between those two in Heats 13 and 15. That will be 2 mouth-watering prospects at the end of this match.
Yes, absolutely. Don't go anywhere, because I do think at the end of the meeting there's some very interesting clashes that will decide this meeting. So here we go then. Heat number 6. And we have got off of gate 1 here, Nicolai KLINDT in red. Cameron Heeps off of gate 2 in white. Alfie BOWTELL off of gate 3 in blue. And Mitch McDIARMID off of gate 4 in yellow. And the Aussie off the outside there, he looked very impressive in his opening ride, having never ridden here before.
Yeah, both him and Mitchell Cluff, you know, just took to it like ducks to water, really. Their first competitive outings around this track, and first time for McDiarmid actually seeing the track. He's probably watched it on YouTube or whatever, but apart from that, and he was very impressive. But they're such confident people, these Aussies, don't they? They just turn up and do the business, don't they?
Yeah, and they're living the dream as well. That's the thing. This is what they all want to do when they're racing out in Australia. They want to come to Europe and race motorbikes for a living, and that's what they're doing. And I think that riders like Mitch are going to take that with both hands. So here we go then, Heat 6 is a go, and once again off of gate 2 there, a great start there for Cameron Heeps. Mitch McDiarmid has now fallen on in a very tight first turn. The red lights have come on. My gut tells me that will be first bend bunching.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was the man on the outside. They all shuffled over, and McDiarmid, he's fine, he's back up, he's just checking his machine.
So here it is, we'll have a quick look. It certainly felt like he sort of...
It's confirmed as all 4 back.
All 4 back, and you can see there that...
he didn't have anywhere to go there, did he?
Alfie was coming around and Mitch had nowhere to go. So good that all 4 are back here.
He's fine, he's just walking back to the pits. His mechanic running back with or Henry Atkins it is, who's looking after his machinery, running back to the pits to make 1 or 2 changes. Straighten anything that might have got bent there, but McDiarmid's fine, he's just taking his helmet off. Peter SCHROECK, the team manager's going out checking the young man's okay, but yeah, again, Nicolai KLINDT will be disappointed that he got outgated by Cameron Heeps there.
Heeps is fast off the start.
We
isn't
saw that in his first outing, didn't we, when he came round Ben Barker? So no doubt Nicolai will be making 1 or 2 changes.
Yeah, he's off of gate 1, and I don't think gate 1's been particularly fruitful so far. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But Alfie BOWTELL there hadn't made the best of starts, but was working hard. I think that's how the clash happened. I think he was working hard on this dirt line. There's a lot of dirt out on the outside on gate on bends 1 and 2.
Yeah. It's got a delay while McDiarmid gets himself together. The sun has disappeared now, so it's yeah, Jonas KNUDSEN just chatting there with Cameron Heeps. He'll be delighted with his second outing. He's looked impressive, hasn't he? He's gated really well in both outings.
Yeah, he has, and he's obviously he's there to back up Sam Masters, who's a points machine. So that's crucial that KNUDSEN's riding like that for the Cheetahs. So it's all got very relaxed here all of a sudden, Nigel.
Yes. Yeah, they're just, as I said, just giving McDiarmid a bit of time to get himself together.
I think that Joe Thompson will be pleased with that opening ride. With that opening ride in the 3 against Jordan Jenkins and Dan Gilkes.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's come up into the main body of the team, and Dan Thompson, of course, his brother, is absolutely flying, and he'll be cross that people make comparisons, but it can't be helped, can it? So
Dan is one of the most exciting up and coming prospects. I think he's made a great start to the season for Ipswich. I said that Birmingham meeting, he was riding like a heat leader, and he's piled up a lot more points since then. That's a great signing. I mean, you look at that Ipswich side, the strength in depth to have Dan Thompson and Jordan Jenkins at reserve, and they still got an incredibly strong top 5. At this early stage, certainly in the Premiership, you'd fancy Ipswich to go on and win the league, but as we saw last year, you only need to have 1 or 2 injuries to key riders, and it completely scupper it. And of course that's already happened to Sheffield with Ty Woffenden. They had a really strong top 4 on their side, and now they'll have to find a replacement for Ty. Wish him all the best, obviously. Great to see him doing a few steps in the hospital ward. Incredible recovery, bearing in mind the injuries that he picked up in that crash in Poland. But yeah, our best wishes to him for a speedy and full recovery.
yeah, absolutely horrifying news regarding Ty, and yeah, that'll definitely have an impact on Sheffield, although they weren't impacted too badly.
No.
And they raced, they still looked very impressive.
Well, their rider replacement, they got quality riders to take that ride, haven't they? That's, but they only need one of their top end riders to be off form, and then that rider replacement becomes a bit of a handicap.
So here we go then, the rerun of heat number 6. Once again, off the inside is Nicolai KLINDT in red, and his teammate Alfie BOWTELL off of gate 3 in blue, and the fast starting Cameron Heeps off of gate 2 in white, and the stricken Aussie there, Mitch McDIARMID, off of gate 4 in yellow.
So Nicolai KLINDT will be looking for a better getaway, but as you said, the way Cameron Heeps has been gating, he's gonna really have to be on it here.
He certainly will, and Cameron Heeps looks determined already. He's the man who's set himself quickest on the start. Here we go then, heat number 6, the rerun. Oh, and he's moved a little bit there, Cameron Heeps. I did say he looked very keen to get going. I don't think he touched the tapes, but he definitely moved. I hope from a competition point of view that he didn't touch the tapes.
Yep. Spot on, Gareth. It was Cameron Heeps who's got the warning. A little bit too eager.
Yeah, he looked ready. If you're looking here, you look at him, he's ready already, and the other riders are still setting themselves. And it just seemed to upset his rhythm, upset his routine a little bit, and he just creeps a little bit there.
Oh, he did well not to hit the tapes, didn't he?
He certainly did.
He just grabbed it in time.
So this will be the second rerun of heat number 6 next. Third running of heat 6.
Yeah, we've had 3 runnings of heat number 3, and now 3 runnings of heat number 6. Getting value for money with the extra races.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's Mitch McDiarmid here, obviously fell in that opening ride, and then or in that the first running, and then we've just had the tapes infringement there as well, or not the tapes infringement, the movement on the start gate, as it turned out.
McDiarmid just coming back for a little adjustment there, done by Henry Atkins, of course former Cheetah and Gladiator. Now
multi-British 250 grass track champion as well, Nigel.
Yeah,
of course, don't forget.
I've got to be honest, I've really enjoyed during the winter reading the grass track news in Speedway Star and some of the interviews in there. It's given me quite a taste. It's one thing I've never done is go to a grass track meeting, so that's certainly on my to-do list this summer, and that's all down to the great publicity the sport gets in Speedway Star.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. Well, here we go then, Heat 6, the rerun, the second rerun. We won't read that out to you again because we've done it twice now already, but here we go then, Heat 6. The rerun once again, tapes up, away they go, and once again Heeps has made a good start, but it's Klint who's made a better one. Nicolai KLINDT takes him to the fence, Heeps comes back up the inside, but it's Nicolai KLINDT who leads. Cameron Heeps is now in that second place, and Alfie BOWTELL sets about catching the Oxford Cheetah.
And more like it for Nicolai KLINDT, he'll be delighted with that. He's got his nose in ahead of Cameron Heeps, and BOWTELL coming into a lot of pressure here for McDiarmid. McDiarmid just locking up a little bit there, losing ground. But McDiarmid certainly not giving up on that third place at all. But Nicolai KLINDT well out in front in the distance, but still this fierce battle going on for third place.
Yeah, Nicolai KLINDT has checked out here, but it's Alfie BOWTELL with all the work to do. McDiarmid definitely looks quicker in that fourth place, but Alfie BOWTELL's trying to make himself as wide as possible to cling onto this 4-2. McDiarmid's now going wide. BOWTELL's going to have to push him wide. It's close to the line, just about hanging on there, Alfie BOWTELL. A very close finish for third.
Fantastic effort there for Mitch McDiarmid. That was probably half a wheel, I think BOWTELL probably got that by. But yeah, he was all over the back wheel of BOWTELL. But fair play to the young Australian. Deserved more in a way than his last place there, but Gladiators will be delighted with a 4-2.
Alfie with a big job to do there to secure that heat victory, and he kept the rider in yellow at bay. So here is the results then of Heat 6. It was a win there for Nicolai KLINDT, his first win here at the Coliseum in Gladiators colours. 3 points to him, 2 points to Cameron Heeps in white, 1 point to Alfie BOWTELL in blue. No score for Mitch McDiarmid there in yellow. 4-2 on the heat, 2015 now on the night in favour of the Plymouth Gladiators. So on to the circuit then for heat number 7 here. And we've got 2 Oxford Cheetahs here who are so far void of points, so with a point to prove.
Yes. Yeah, Dan Gilkes, as you said, was a little bit looked a little bit down in that interview, so he'll be keen to prove a point. And Jordan Jenkins will be very annoyed by the referee's decision, and he'll be looking to make amends for that.
So here is the lineup then for this heat number 7. Jordan Jenkins off of the inside here in gate 1 in white, and his teammate Dan Gilkes off of the gate 3 in yellow. Ben Barker off of gate 2 in red, Lasse FREDRIKSEN off of gate 4 in blue. 2 first heat winners here for the Gladiators, and they will want to keep that rolling, that's for sure.
Mark Simmons, Ben's mechanic, just arrived up on the gantry just to our left, keeping an eager watch on his charge out on the track. And FREDRIKSEN, we said, what a great start to his Plymouth career, and he'll be looking to repeat that in this second outing for him, coming off the outside gate.
So here we go then, heat number 7, tapes up, away they go, it's very even off the inside. It is the rider in white, Jordan Jenkins, who leads, but he leaves a gap up the inside that Barker tries to come up the inside. Barker's moved through into second. He's now trying to force Dan Gilkes wide, it gets very close on the back straight. Now Barker is going to chase after Jordan Jenkins, he goes right out by the fence. Barker's on the chase.
Jenkins got a little bit of lift there, drifted towards the fence, and Barker has capitalised. Yes, he has. He's managed to get round the outside of Jenkins, crossing the start-finish line. A brilliant piece of riding there by the Plymouth captain, and And Lasse FREDRIKSEN has got past Dan Gilkes as well, so all of a sudden it's a 4-2 for the Gladiators.
That's a tremendous ride by both Ben Barker and by Lasse FREDRIKSEN, who capitalised on a mistake by Dan Gilkes coming off of Ben 2, but it's a brilliant win again. Benjamin Barker is absolutely flying. He's making use of all of the space now on this newly formed Gladiators Coliseum, and Ben Barker makes it 2 out of 2.
Yeah, the engine room of Oxford's side not quite getting there at the moment. They look good in that race, but great work by Barker and FREDRIKSEN there to overtake their 2 respective opponents and turn what looked like a heat advantage to the Cheetahs into a heat win for the Gladiators.
So the results then of heat number 7, it was a win in red for Ben Barker, 3 points to him, 2 points to Jordan Jenkins in white, 1 point to Lasse FREDRIKSEN in blue, no score to Dan Gilkes in yellow. It was a 4-2 on the heat, 24-17 now on the night. And there was a big response from this crowd for Ben Barker, who has twice done it from the back here. Twice he has been in second and he's had to go round the outside into that dirt, into the banking, get round the outside of, first of all, Cameron Heeps, this time Jordan Jenkins, and that really has fired up this Devon crowd.
Yeah, they thoroughly enjoyed that. As I said, I was very impressed with Ben up at Workington in that big meeting, and then to reach the semi-final in the Championship Individual Riders Championship at Scunthorpe, a track that, you know, Ben always says is a tough one, but in great opposition there, he managed to reach the semis as well, and he's carrying on that form into this opening league match of the season for the Gladiators.
So Alfie BOWTELL here in heat number 8. He frequently won this one last season. He did make heat 8 his own, and he'll want to do the same here. He's the last one onto the circuit, having only just competed in heat 6. But here we go then, the lineup for this heat number 8. Off of the inside here, Luke Killeen in yellow and Jonas KNUDSEN in white off of gate 3. Ben Trigger off of gate 2 in blue, and Alfie BOWTELL off the outside here in gate 4. And I think Alfie will fancy that off the outside. Yeah,
though KNUDSEN's been gating well, hasn't he? He's, you know, he got a paid win in his second outing, and he's on that again in his first outing before he spun off. So, you know, he's been gating well. It should be an interesting fight for these two on the 2 outside gates.
So here we go then with heat number 8. 24-17 is the score at the moment. What's going to change here? Tapes up, away they go. And it is Jonas KNUDSEN that makes a great start. And he is joined by Luke Killeen on the inside. So it's the Cheetahs 1 and 2. Alfie BOWTELL's got all the work to do. He goes up into that dirt. Alfie BOWTELL's going to try and go round the outside. It's a good ride here from Alfie BOWTELL.
Yeah, brilliant. Making full use of the extra space on that third bend. And he's now completed the move around the rider in yellow there, Luke Killeen, to grab second place, but yeah, making full use of that extra space on turn number 3. And now in hot pursuit though, Killeen's coming back hard underneath him. BOWTELL just holding on as they enter it, going into the final lap.
Trying out those different lines, Alfie BOWTELL. He was slightly wider coming around bend 2, but it really didn't pay off. This time he's much tidier coming out of bend 2 because he knew that Luke Killeen was there. But it's a 4-2 for the Cheetahs. That's a tremendous ride once again from Jonas KNUDSEN. Alfie BOWTELL, try as he might, he managed to get himself into second, but still the Cheetahs reign supreme here in heat number 8.
Yeah, great riding by KNUDSEN there, and well backed up there by Luke Killeen in third place. And once again, the gap is closed between these two sides. But I love this change to the track. It's great to see riders racing around the outside going into those third and fourth bends. And they can do it with confidence now with that extra bit of space, and it's really adding to the spectacle here at the Coliseum.
It's fantastic, and here we go then, Heat 8 result there, a win in white for Jonas KNUDSEN, 3 points to him, 2 points to the hard-working Alfie BOWTELL in red, 1 point to Luke Killeen in yellow. No score there for Ben Trigger in blue. It was a 4-2 to the Oxford Cheetahs, which brings it to 26 points to 21 in favour of the home team. So we have got a bit of a pause in proceedings here, and a reminder of all of the various social media outlets for the Plymouth Gladiators are on your screen. And Mark Phillips has taken to the circuit here to track raid.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a great bunch of lads here. It's just a few of us got to get dialed into the track, me, myself, but it's going good so far, so just got to keep it up. It has been super exciting, and we just about
Rob Doran just making sure a few sponsors, I think, are about to venture out onto the track, but they've done so safely now, led by Barry Bishop.
Yeah, they've got there's a sort of sponsorship pen in the middle of the circuit, and I believe that the sponsors are making their way to that pen to watch a little bit of the racing from the inside, and yeah, it all looks a lot faster from the inside, doesn't it?
Oh, it's great. It is great watching it from the inside, but after a while you get fed up spinning around to watch the bikes going around. I've been on the centre green at Isle of Wight before with my two boys, and you get a real impression of the speed, but after a while you just think, I'd rather just stand in one place and not have to keep spinning around to keep an eye on the action.
So we've got Garry May chatting there to Fredriksson and to Mitchell Cluff, and Nicolai KLINDT joined them. So at this point, Nigel, 26 points to 21. There's 5 points in it. It's very tight at the halfway point, which is pretty much what was predicted. I think that the crucial moment, though, was probably that Heat 3 low score.
Yeah, that could come back to bite Oxford, couldn't it? That 5-0. As I said, when the first race was stopped, it was a 5-1. So, if it hadn't been for that fall by Dan Gilkes, it still would have been 5 points to the Gladiators. But that 1 point. But there's some really interesting heats. I mean, that Masters Knudsen pairing. I mean, that race in heat number 11 we got coming up, Masters and Knudsen against Barker and Fredriksson. That should be a really interesting affair. And as I said, when we get to heat 15, heat 13 and 15, KLINDT, Barker, Masters and Heeps, which could be repeated in heat 15. We got some really tasty races to come in this meeting, and I'd be amazed if we don't go right down to the wire with this one.
Well, interestingly, you can see here that there are There are 6 riders, but conspicuous by his absence there is Ben Barker, who is out on the track making his way to the track crew, I believe. Well, no, he's making his way over to Ben 3 at the moment. He's making use of this circuit in a way that none of the others can make work at the moment. I think Alfie BOWTELL managed to get around the outside of Luke Killeen.
Just having a chat with someone in the crowd, I think.
Yeah, possibly. But he's certainly the rider who's able to make this track work at the moment.
Yeah. And as I said, in a way that those improvements to the entry and width of Ben 3 is almost made for Ben Barker, isn't it? Because there's nothing he loves more than swooping around the outside. And he's really made the most of that so far this evening.
Yeah, certainly. So there is the track crew working hard and getting things ready as quickly as possible. Bit of clutch alteration going on there as well.
2 people, and they can bring a friend, and they can come and stand for heat 13 in the centre green in here up here with us. How does that sound? Plymouth, how does that sound? There we go, excellent. Right, get your comments in there now. We're keeping an eye out. We've had a few come in. Someone just click my Freya.
So it'll be interesting to know what the aim is at this point. And Garry May, will he change anything? Will he swap the reserves around? Just have a quick look around that. So he does tend to swap the reserves around a little bit. And as you mentioned, Lasse and Ben in heat 11, you would expect that to probably stay together, but you never really know.
That 4-2 for Cheetahs and the last one has nullified the possibility they could have had a tactical coming out in heat 9, which from a Plymouth point of view is probably quite handy, because it could have potentially been Heeps and Masters together.
So we're now going to go to a previous meeting here, or a previous race here at the Coliseum.
Thompson in red in gate number 1 for Gladiators. Luke Killeen, as I said, paid win last time out. He's in yellow off gate 2 for the Cheetahs. Joe Thompson coming in as a reserve ride for Jacob Hook. He's in blue. And it's Ashton Bowden in the outside gate in white. Is there a big heat in the context of the match? Gladiators really need a heat advantage here. And the Thompson boys are delivering, gating first and second here. And that's just what the doctor ordered from a Plymouth point of view, with Joe in second place and Dan following him at the moment in second, and the Cheetahs riders bringing up the rear.
That's a great display of team riding as well. I mean, a lot of people say team riding is sort of a lost art in Speedway these days, but I've noticed the last season or so it's coming back, and this is brilliant. You can see there Dan looking for Joe and slowing the bike down a bit. It's this is what wins your meetings.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant from the Thompson boys, who've been a hugely welcome addition to the Gladiators side this season, and they've repeatedly said how much they've enjoyed their time here this season, and all Plymouth fans will be hoping that they're back here again in 2025. It looks like it's Joe as an attempt by Ashton Bowden.
Oh my God!
Ashton Bowden has got up on the line. Brilliant for Ashton Bowden. How on earth did he manage that? He's got up on the outside to pass both of the Thompsons. So Joe was second, Dan was third, but take your hats off to Ashton Bowden there, because that came from out.
Yeah, that was a close finish, Nigel.
That was one of my races of the season here last year. Ashton Bowden, of course, now with Glasgow, and in a very strong-looking Glasgow side, along with Kyle Howarth, another former Gladiator, and Chris Bomber Harris, who's made a fantastic start of the season, winning the Championship Riders' Championship. But yeah, these sadly for Oxford, towards the end of the season, Ashton Bowden's form rather slipped away from him, and that didn't really help them in the playoffs. But you know, he's a youngster, talented youngster, and hopefully he can get back to the sort of racing we saw there very soon.
Yeah, he's not. He came out of the blocks as a rider in the adult classes with fantastically scoring points everywhere, and he's struggled a little bit this season, hasn't he? But no doubt a rider of that class will find his feet again.
Yeah, you'd certainly hope so. He did good things on the international front last year as well, when he was in good form. Back here, we're about to get underway with heat number 9.
Yeah, heat number 9 is coming to tapes. More importantly, Nigel, I seem to have lost my pen somewhere, so I don't know how I'm going to fill the programme out.
We'll have to share one. I haven't got a spare of me tonight.
Here we go then. Heat number 9 is at the tapes, and we've got Cameron Heeps off of gate 1 here in white, and Mitch McDiarmid off of gate 3 in yellow. Those are the Cheetahs, and for the Gladiators in blue in gate 2 is Joe Thompson, and off the outside here in gate 4 in red is Mitchell Cluff.
This will be fascinating battle of the two young Aussies.
Yeah, 3 Aussies here as well with Cameron Heeps,
yeah.
Although he's not. He's been around a long time, Cameron Heeps, of course.
There'll be a lot of personal pride here between Mitchell Cluff and Mitch McDiarmid. No doubt they've clashed several times, or many times, in Australia, and they'd love to get one over each other here, no doubt.
So 26 points to 21. Heat number 9 is at the tapes, and tapes up, away they go, and out of gate 2 in blue, Joe Thompson makes an absolute flyer. He comes across the front of Cameron Heeps, but it is Heeps and McDiarmid who are in second and third, and McDiarmid looks very quick in that yellow helmet in second.
Yeah, it certainly is. Mitchell Cluff, unfortunately, slow away from the start there. Got a lot of catching up to do here. Just seems to have lost the speed he had in his opening ride out of the gate. But Joe Thompson looking confident out front. But it's that man, Mitch McDiarmid, who's not going to let this die. He's putting Thompson under a lot of pressure, going down that back straight, looking to use the outside run here. But Thompson riding a good line over the start-finish line.
He's having to have eyes in the back of his head here, Joe Thompson, because McDiarmid's all over him. He's had a look up the inside. He's going to go round the outside in bends 3 and 4. He's going right round the outside. He's going for a charge. Joe Thompson had it scouted, and Joe Thompson just about comes home there with a win. A nod of approval from Mitch McDiarmid. A great race there between two young racers.
That was almost an Ashton Bowden move there by Mitch McDiarmid, crossing the start-finish line, but he was just headed home there by Joe Thompson, and a 3-3 keeps this match on a knife edge at 29 points to 24. 53.52 the time for that one.
So heat 9 result then, it was a win in blue for Joe Thompson. 3 points to him, 2 points to Mitch McDiarmid in yellow, 1 point to Cameron Heeps in white. No score for Mitchell Cluff in red. It's a 3-all, and we're now 29 points to 24 on the night.
minutes, all 4 riders for heat number 10. 2 minutes, all 4 riders for heat number 10.
Yeah, Mitchell Cluff seems to have lost the speed he had away from the start in his first ride. That just seems to have disappeared. It's I don't know if he's made changes which haven't quite come off, but he was dynamised out of the start in his opening outing, and that speed just seems to have dissipated.
Yeah, he made an absolute flyer in the opening ride. But here's a replay of Mitch McDiarmid, who's got an interesting style on the bike. Hangs off the side of the bike, and it was a win there. Joe Thompson working overtime there. So heat number 10 is coming to tapes as we look towards 29 points to 24 is the score at present.
Peter Schrock's going to be delighted with this young Australian signing, isn't he, if tonight's anything to go by.
So here is the lineup then for Heat 10. Off the inside there in Gate 1, Dan Gilkes, and with him off of Gate 3 for the Cheetahs is Jordan Jenkins. And then the Gladiators pairing in blue off of Gate 2, Alfie BOWTELL, and Nicolai KLINDT off the outside here in Gate 4.
This is the engine room of their side, Oxford. It hasn't quite come off so far tonight. Obviously that double exclusion in their first outings, but on the end of a 4-2 in their next one. This is the pairing that Oxford need to come good here, but of course up against Nicolai KLINDT and Alfie BOWTELL.
Well, Gilkes will be bitterly disappointed with his opening 2 rides. Of course, he had that fall, which he self-confessed was his own doing, and then ran a 4th in his last ride. So he will be disappointed, and he'll have a point to prove here. That's for sure. So Heat 10 is at the tapes, and Dan Gilkes is off of that Gate 1 this time. So tapes go up, away they go. And it is the Oxford Cheetahs parent. Dan Gilkes has made a flyer. Jenkins gets in a complete tank slapper. Coming off the turn and dropping the machine behind him. Nicolai KLINDT. Now I think Nicolai KLINDT may have thought that
Jenkins was coming off, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think, I'd love to see a replay, but I think he took evasive action there.
Well, we can have a look
let's
here.
Just watch this.
Already there, Jordan Jenkins looks like he's on a bucking bronco going into the first turn. And he overcooks the machine there. It almost comes round, and KLINDT.
Yeah, KLINDT's taken evasive action there, hasn't he? He was fearing running into the side of Jordan Jenkins. That's going to be an interesting one for the referee.
Yeah, because it's...
he could just class it as a first bend incident if he wants to, but... as KLINDT would argue, if what he saw happening in front of him, he was trying to avoid an accident. But then Jenkins stayed on. But yeah, he seemed to have incredible power in that machine, Jenkins. Even from the start, as you said, he snaked away.
Some of the comments that are coming in on the Facebook Live watch party here. What I want you to do is...
So we were just waiting then to see if there was an announcement, but nothing announced. I'm assuming it's all 4 back here. We'll have to wait and see. The 2 minutes are on.
Yeah,
so
that suggests it is all 4.
All 4 back for Heat 10, which is good. I don't think particularly Jordan Jenkins. I don't think particularly Nicolai KLINDT was at any fault there. He had to lay the bike down.
That's a good decision, because Nicolai KLINDT was trying to avoid an accident, and you can't really exclude Jordan Jenkins because he stayed on the machine, and so I think that is the right decision.
Yeah, absolutely. So Alfie BOWTELL then has another go here off of Gate 2. Being ably assisted there by Liam Brown, his mechanic, multi-British grass track sidecar champion Liam Brown on the and European champion as well. Helping out Alfie. He knows his onions when it comes to engines and gearing and all the sorts of things like that. Always good to have a good mechanic in your pit bay.
Just lubricating the chain there. It's a lovely red sky descending around Plymouth at the moment with this gorgeous Easter weekend night.
So here we go then, the rerun of heat number 10. Off of Gate 1 once again, Dan Gilkes in yellow, and Gate 2 Alfie BOWTELL in blue. Jordan Jenkins off of Gate 3 in white, and Nicolai KLINDT off of Gate 4 in red.
Again, Nicolai will be hoping to get away a little bit quicker, as he showed when he had the restart with Cameron Heeps. He, goes away, makes an adjustment, and does the trick. But they are fast skating, these two Cheetahs riders, and Jenkins and Gilkes.
They certainly were there in that first run into this heat, and Nicolai was out the back. So here we go then, heat 10 at the tapes. Tapes up, away they go. This time Nicolai KLINDT once again. He's definitely got over the front of Jenkins, but sweeping them all wide, Dan Gilkes. And coming through into that second, Alfie BOWTELL. So Alfie BOWTELL once again has worked hard to get into second, but he's got up his inside. He has got charging very hard, Jordan Jenkins.
Yeah, Jenkins has got to try and pursue BOWTELL while at the same time having eyes in the back of his head with KLINDT behind him here, but he's going around the outside of BOWTELL. Not quite enough room coming down that back straight. Again trying the outside line. BOWTELL running a good line this time. Jenkins looking at the inside, but BOWTELL just keeping him behind him at the moment, and KLINDT is closing the gap as well.
So very impressive this time out, Dan Gilkes. He is absolutely flying at the front. BOWTELL is working overtime here to keep Jordan Jenkins at bay and reduce the damage. It's going to be a win there, and a very impressive win for Dan Gilkes, and BOWTELL does cling on to that second place. But crucially for the Cheetahs, in that third place, Jordan Jenkins.
Yeah, the Cheetahs engine room there finally firing, getting them a crucial 4-2 there. Nicolai KLINDT disappointed to come in at the back there, but a great scrap between Jenkins and BOWTELL.
So Dan Gilkes absolutely must be delighted with that performance there in that heat 10. He was the one that we were talking about before, but here is the result of heat 10. The winner in yellow, very impressive, Dan Gilkes. Looking forward to.
I've got you back now. I lost you for a minute there.
No bad thing that, Nigel. My wife would be delighted with that. So heat 11. Here we go, Nigel.
This is the one I was looking forward to back at the interval, or on the last track grade, I should say. Barker, FREDRIKSEN, Masters, and KNUDSEN. This is a top-notch race. This one.
I think that Ben Barker here will be off of the inside. He will have just seen what Dan Gilkes did. So here's the lineup then for heat 11, and Ben Barker off of gate 1 in red, unbeaten so far this evening. Joining him, Lasse FREDRIKSEN in blue, and then Sam Masters also unbeaten off of gate 2 in white, and Jonas KNUDSEN off of gate 4 in yellow. And look at those points, Nigel. These four have been banging in the points this evening.
Yeah, that's why I was looking at this a little while ago, thinking this is a very appetising heat. And as I said, KNUDSEN has been gating really well. Well, they all have. All four of them have been gating really well, so this should be a tremendous first bend scrap here.
Ben Barker off of gate 1 this time, and as we said, Gilkes made a flyer off of gate 1 in the previous race, but he was also able to shuffle everybody up, and I think that was where it was crucial. So here we go then, heat number 11, 31 points to 28. There are only 4 points separating these teams after 10 races. It really is nicely poised here for this very, very intriguing heat number 11. So tapes are up, away they go. Barker's made a good start off the inside, but making an absolute flyer there. Jonas KNUDSEN. The red lights have come on. Ben Barker leads down the back straight, but the red lights have come on because we have got a fallen Lasse FREDRIKSEN in front of us here.
Yeah, Masters just gave him a little nudge there, but yeah, it's all four back. No surprise there, but again, the two riders both going for the same piece of track. Masters just catching FREDRIKSEN, who's fine. He's setting up, just checking his bike. But yeah, all four back, and as I said, it was a very tasty first bend, and so it proved.
Absolutely, they all got there together. Look at that.
Could have chucked a blanket over them, couldn't you?
And FREDRIKSEN very neatly bringing himself down. But that's the third first bend incident we've seen, Nigel, and that it's some big bends here. And here's the gate stats. This will be interesting. So
it's pretty even, isn't it? It's
1 and 3 seem to be the place.
Four's not good, is it? But 1, 2, and 3 have all had 3 wins. So yeah, gate 4's the one not to be on.
So I think...
but Gate 2 hasn't provided as many points as the other two, is it? So, yeah, very interesting. Well, that's what, you know, when you're preparing a track, you want to have even gates, don't you? And that's three gates out of 4 even. That's not too bad.
No, absolutely not. And Gate 1 there off the inside. I think a lot of the riders that have come off of Gate 1 have not particularly gated well, but they've been able to almost dictate the first corner.
And I've noticed 1 or 2 riders who've come off Gate 4 and have struggled to make it to the first bend. They've almost accepted they're not going to make it, and then they look to cut back inside early doors.
Absolutely. So Joe Thompson top scoring at the moment for the Gladiators, and he'll be delighted with that. 2 wins out of 3 rides. And Sam Masters, he's got another ride here, of course, but he's already top scoring for the Cheetahs. Points all the way through.
Yeah, as I said with Oxford, that engine room of 3 and 4 was what was letting them down before, but 6 points now, but that 4-2 in that race has made a big difference to that department, but otherwise it's pretty solid all the way through for Oxford.
It's not really an obvious chink in either team's armoury, is there?
No. Ben Trigger was worth more than 1 point. He obviously had that engine problem when he was in a scoring position in his first outing. And Mitchell Cluff, as I said, he was so good gating in that first one, and then the next 2 rides he's been slow out of the gate. You know, you don't know if he's made a change to his equipment or what the difference is, but you feel like he's worth more than that 2+1 so far. And McDiarmid has been great for them, hasn't he? 4 points from 3 rides on a track he's never seen before.
Yeah.
You know, that young man can be very pleased with his night's work.
Yeah, he's impressive. He does look good. 5 Australians in action this evening. So those Mitchell Clough's fan club over in New South Wales got 5 Aussies to keep an eye on for this evening, so real international flavour.
Was it last week's Speedway Star, the week before? I think I'm doing it off the top of my head now, but in British Speedway this season I think there's 39 Brits and 27 Australians riding in British Speedway. As you say, they love coming over here, don't they?
Yeah, they certainly do, and it's always been
we love having them as well.
It's always been their thing to do. Certainly being involved in the sidecar world, it rubs off a little bit. Some of the sidecar boys, sidecar speedway is a big deal over there. And sidecar speedway is a big deal in Australia, and the riders who race the sidecars over there, their dream is to come over, probably because of the solos as well. But it doesn't happen so much anymore because the sidecar speedway scene is all but dead at the moment. But we live in hope for the future. Anyway, 2 wheels tonight, and Ben Barker off of Gate 1 was determined. At least he led down the back straight. I don't know if the Cheetahs had caught sight of the red light before they got out the bend, but Ben seemed to have a plan. He came out of the turn and very quickly knew where he was going to ride to try and overcome the fast starting Cheetahs.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be equally close going into this first bend this time around.
So here we go then with our heat number 11 rerun lineup. We've got Ben Barker and Lasse FREDRIKSEN in red and blue respectively off of gates 1 and 3 for the Gladiators, and Sam Masters and Jonas KNUDSEN off of gates 2 and 4 in white and in yellow, and hopefully they get past the first corner this time.
Yeah, we've had quite a few reruns tonight. So the meeting's still getting through at a good pace though, isn't it? We're not having long delays. It's been very entertaining so far.
Brilliant so far, and here we go with this anticipated rerun of Heat 11. Tapes go up, away they go. Barker has tried to get up the inside of Sam Masters, but it is Sam Masters who leads, and KNUDSEN's coming round the outside. It's a Cheetahs 1-2, and Ben Barker has now got work to do because he has got Jonas KNUDSEN on that outside line, which is the one that's been working well for Barker so far.
Yeah, Ben's going to want a space around that outside to swoop around, but KNUDSEN's riding a very intelligent line at the moment, blocking that outside run almost forcing Ben Barker to look at the inside. Very impressed with Knudsen tonight. He's riding brilliantly in support of Sam Masters at the top of the order, and Barker running out of laps here.
Yeah, one more lap to go, and Jonas KNUDSEN is riding a fantastic line around both bends. He's right in the middle of the track. He knows exactly where Ben Barker will want to ride. This time, though, KNUDSEN has opted for the inside. That is brave. It's going to get close here. But he had enough in his pocket to maintain that second place. A 5-1 to the Cheetahs.
Yeah, Barker doing his utmost there. Interesting that Knudsen switched to that inside, and it also almost caught him out there, but another few metres Barker might have caught him on the line. But as I said, very impressive from Knudsen, following home Sam Masters for that 5-1 for the Cheetahs.
So here are the results of a crucial heat number 11. It was a win in white for Sam Masters. 3 points to him, 2 points to Jonas KNUDSEN in yellow, 1 point to Ben Barker in red. No score there for Lasse FREDRIKSEN in blue. It was a 5-1 to the Cheetahs, and crucially, for the first time this evening, the Oxford Cheetahs now lead by 1 single point, 33 points to 32.
Yeah, that's well, they've chipped away, haven't they, over the last few heats, and finally got their noses in front. And strong pairing out in this one as well in Jordan Jenkins and Mitch McDiarmid. Ben Trigger and Mitchell Cluff for the Gladiators, who've both of them have struggled in their most recent rides. So Gladiators really need something from these two young men in this heat.
Yeah, they certainly do, because it's, well, as we say, it's the first time the Cheetahs have got their noses in front, and with Heat 13, where Sam Masters and Cameron Heeps are out, and Heat 15, where Sam Masters will be in action again, and Sam has yet to be... Nobody seems to have even got near to Sam Masters so far, so yeah, fantastic. So, as you can see on the screen, we've had a couple of issues with the stream this evening, but thank you for your patience and understanding. It's always the way with the first one of the season,
yeah,
Nigel. The gremlins have got into the system, but I know that our director and the team are working flat out to make sure that's resolved as quickly as possible.
And I'm sure, despite the issues, you're still really enjoying this meeting, because it's an absolute nip and tuck affair, as we expected it to be, and really looking forward to the last 4 heats. I still think it will go all the way. It's to the final heat. Sam Masters there just grabbing himself a drink.
Well, it's due to be Mitchell Cluff and Ben Trigger in Heat 12, but Ben is stood up here.
Yeah, Lasse FREDRIKSEN's going to come out, isn't he?
I'm assuming that there's a swap in the reserves here, and Ben will go.
And that's why we got the delay, because FREDRIKSEN's got 2 on the trot.
Yeah, and he'll want to very quickly forget that 5-1 that they've just experienced. So there's Ben Trigger talking to Henry Atkins. So 33-32, it really couldn't be much closer, of course. If you're wondering why, if you've joined late and you're wondering why the strange scoreline, there was a no score for the Cheetahs in Heat 3, where Dan Gilkes and Jordan Jenkins both fell and were excluded in various different situations. And that means that we've got this 1 point gap here, 32 points to 33 at this stage.
All the various ways to engage with Plymouth Speedway across the bottom of the screen there. The gap's never been more than 7 tonight, has it? It's in Gladiators' favour. So they've never quite got away from the Cheetahs, have they? And as I said, because they haven't, it stopped them bringing in a tactical for Sam Masters. So
there we are. If you're wondering, the owners of these voices that are getting on your nerves all evening, there we are. So here we go then. Heat number 12 is going to be interesting. So immediately Garry May responding to the fact that they've gone behind here with swapping the reserve.
But as I said, they're up against a strong Cheetahs pairing here, aren't they? McDiarmid, who's just never knows when he's beaten, and Jordan Jenkins, as I said, in his last outing has, started to, last 2 outings to be fair, got a second in his second ride.
So here we go then, heat number 12. We've got off the inside here Mitchell Cluff in red, and for the Gladiators, and also for the Gladiators in gate 3 in blue is Lasse FREDRIKSEN. For the Cheetahs in gate 2 this time in yellow is Mitch McDIARMID, and Jordan Jenkins off the outside here, gate 4 in white. So 33 points to 32, and Dan Gilkes giving Ben Barker a cuddle. Dan's obviously feeling a lot better about life after that very impressive victory there.
Do you think he was just reminding him what the score is?
So Lasse FREDRIKSEN, the last one to come to line. I don't know what the time is. We can't actually see the clock from our point of view. There is a timing clock in the middle on the centre green, but you can't see it from where we are. Hopefully he wasn't too...
Yeah, he's come straight
panicked
to tapes, hasn't he? So it was close.
So tapes up on heat 12, away they go. FREDRIKSEN's made an absolute flyer, and it is Lasse FREDRIKSEN who leads, coming up the inside. Mitchell Cluff's putting a lot of pressure on the rider in yellow, but it's a 4-2 as it stands at the moment. It's a good start here from FREDRIKSEN, and Mitchell Cluff's working hard in that third.
Yeah, much better gate for Mitchell Cluff there, but he's got his Aussie fellow countryman all over his back wheel, and this is going to be an exciting 4 laps. The battle between the two Mitches, and McDIARMID unfortunately has just swept Mitchell Cluff away. I don't think that's going to be a difficult decision from what we could see from here for the referee. Let's hope Mitchell Cluff's all right. He's moving. I think he's okay. His bike carried on a fair bit beyond him after he was taken off. But oh wow, he must have. I'm surprised the rider in red has been excluded. Well, we've got a long distance view of it here, so. I thought Mitch McDIARMID came underneath him, but maybe Mitchell Cluff locked up before that.
Yeah, an interesting decision. At the moment, Mitchell is being attended to, and as soon as we have an update, I know that several of his family and friends are watching it back home. So yeah, he's moving around.
Yeah, I wouldn't be concerned if you're back home. I think he's fine. The crowd weren't happy with that decision, though, were they? A few shouts of annoyance from the Colin Hill stand. As I said, we got a very long view here from that, but maybe something happened for Mitchell Cluff in front, which Ben Barker's appealing to Garry May to go and have a word with the referee.
Well, that never does any good. That's the problem. But
no,
I think
Ben's quite.
Yeah, he's not particularly happy, is he? He doesn't.
Oh
really
my goodness! Don't.
Yeah, don't. If you can lip read at home. I would suggest that you look away for the time being.
A little bit of a disagreement with Peter Schropp there, the Oxford team manager.
Mitchell Cluff is walking back to the pits.
Yeah, Garry May on the phone. Well, I don't know what the referee's got a much better view of it than we've got here, but watching it from here, it looked like McDIARMID took Mitchell Cluff out.
Well, we might be able to have a look at it here.
But as I said, there might be a very different view watching the replay.
So Mitchell Cluff.
Yeah, Mitchell Cluff is locked up, isn't he?
Yeah, he has locked up quite a bit there. So our cameraman agrees next to us.
You've got to say where was Mitch McDIARMID going to go there?
Yeah,
I can see why the referee's made that decision.
So Mitchell will, obviously from his perspective, will feel that. He's getting a round of applause here. It's very difficult to say, isn't it? Because he will feel that he wasn't out of control and he was just turning the bike to keep it on the inside line. It's another one. It's two that Mitchell's been involved with there that are both. They could go either way.
It's another one of those, isn't it? If you're a Gladiator, you're going to have one view. If you're a Cheetah, you're going to have another view.
Let's have another look here. Now, McDIARMID was going very fast. He was right out by the fence, the bend before. So he's turned the bike here. Now, if McDIARMID wasn't there, would Mitchell have fallen?
Yeah.
If McDIARMID wasn't there, would Mitchell Cluff have fallen? And I don't think he probably would.
No.
There we go. He's not happy. He's not happy at all, and I don't blame him. But he is excluded from the rerun.
Yeah, McDIARMID was coming at him at pace, wasn't he? And then as soon as Mitchell Cluff was locked up, then, McDIARMID had no way of shaving that pace off. But
there's two views there, though, isn't there?
Yeah,
totally.
Views.
Absolutely. Mitchell Cluff will argue that he was well within his rights to slow his machine down like that in front of in front of McDiarmid, and
you can see why the referee has made the decision. You can also see why the Gladiators are so upset, can't you?
Absolutely. And it adds another element here, of course, when points are required, and Lasse FREDRIKSEN now with a big job to do for Heat 12. There's a bit of track grading going on at the moment, so between the before the rerun, we've got another track grade happening. So Mitchell Cluff.
So a bit of an interval now while they're giving a bit of time, bit of track grading, a few sparks coming off the grader over there.
Yeah, this is the first time. Obviously, I've been up here for the practice day and for a couple of other days. First time I've been under the lights this season, and there's something very special.
Yes.
About motorbike racing under the lights. And yeah, and we're there now. Ben Barker's on the circuit at the moment. So once again, we've got the gate stats here, and
still even, isn't it? Those
yeah.
First 3 inside gates, it's nicely evenly spread. Gate 4 is not the one you want to be in.
Yeah, well, it just doesn't feel like that from watching. It feels like Gate 4 has produced a couple of good traps, but the numbers don't lie.
And there's the scores. Sam Masters immaculate, as he usually is around the Coliseum. 3 wins out of 3. Cameron Heeps has backed him up really well. Jonas KNUDSEN has been outstanding. Mitch McDiarmid, entertaining. And Gladiators, pretty solid all the way through. Some good heat wins, some FREDRIKSEN, Barker a couple, Joe Thompson a couple. I think Nicolai KLINDT would have expected more than one heat win from his opening 3 rides, but it's his first meeting here. That's one thing to remember. This is the Gladiators' first meeting as a team. This is Oxford's 3rd, I think, and that does make a difference at this stage of the season.
Not to mention the fact that a number of them ride in the Premiership as well.
Yeah.
For the Cheetahs. For the Gladiators, KLINDT obviously rides for the in the Premiership. But apart from that, I think he's the only one, isn't he? Whereas the Cheetahs, Sam Masters, Jordan Jenkins, Dan Gilkes, Luke Killeen,
they've had a lot more track time.
They've had a lot more track time than the Gladiators.
That certainly needs to be taken into account. Plus the fact for KLINDT and Cluff, this is their first, they practiced around here, but they haven't had a meeting around here. Don't think Nicolai KLINDT has been here in previous years, or am I wrong there? He might have been. I'd have to look back through the records.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Yeah, the Cheetahs. So they started their season at home in the Knockout Cup.
That was that Scunthorpe one, wasn't it?
Against Scunthorpe, and Sam Masters there was virtually unbeaten. He only got beaten in Heat 15 by Steve Worrell. So he was very impressive, as was Jenkins and Gilkes, who maxed in that meeting.
Yeah.
So they had a very strong showing in their opening meeting, and then of course once again against Poole, Sam Masters only beaten again in Heat 15.
Yeah, they got no Scott Nichols, but I think Peter Schrock's done a good job of sort of covering for not his absence, because he's not in the team. He's not just filling in while he comes back. I think he's that Jenkins Gilkes 3 and 4 is crucial. I think, and she said in that meeting they scored very heavily. They started off a bit stickily tonight, but they're certainly knocking in the points now, and that's a tidy pairing, that, isn't it, Gilkes and Jenkins?
It is, yeah. They've got some firepower, and at home, Luke Killeen, who this evening has been relatively quiet, but at home he's an absolute firecracker at number 7. He scored 8 against Scunthorpe, paid 10 earlier in the week against Poole. Luke Killeen is when they go back to Oxford.
Well,
it's going to be tough to beat.
Oxford fans and a lot of neutrals will tell you Luke Killeen's injury in that playoff final last season against Poole, when he clashed with Vinnie Ford, had a massive impact on that meeting. Whether if he'd stayed fit they would have gone on and won an aggregate, who knows? But they certainly missed him over the you know, what was the remainder of that first leg and the second leg.
Second prize coming in for £25 is raffle number.
Yeah, it's all been very interesting to just see it all unfolding really this evening. It's just seeing things unfolding, but you do get the feeling, I know it sounds like excuses, Nigel, but we are being realistic. The fact that the Gladiators have just started their season, and it feels like they're a little bit... They came out the blocks all excited and ready to go, and now Oxford are starting to hit their stride, and the Gladiators have got to try and put a stop to that quickly.
Yeah. No, I think, I don't think anything that happens tonight should take away from the excitement for the season. This is, you know, it's very early days, and that's why, in a way, the BSN is good at the start of the season, because, you know, if you are playing catch-up a little bit on meetings, it's a chance to blow those cobwebs away before you get into the league action, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an interesting little concept. So we've got something going on now here that's off camera that we'll tell you about at the Coliseum. It's something that my son loves.
Yeah.
There we go. So this is the kids race that they do in the interval, and this is really popular. My son, if ever he comes along to a meeting and this doesn't happen, that's a game changer for him.
Same with my boys, they love it. I mean, look at this. This is what the future Speedway's about. Look at the number of youngsters who've come along tonight, not just to watch the Speedway, but take part in this. And they'll remember this, and, you know, they'll be nagging their parents to come back in the future. You know, that's what happened with me when I was first taken to a Speedway meeting by my dad in 1977. Not for a kids race on the track. I wouldn't want to run around the county ground. I think it's like running a marathon, but at Exeter Falcons. But you know, you get introduced to this sport, and you know, in no time at all, you're absolutely addicted to it.
Absolutely.
And these are the fans of the future, and I love the fact Plymouth do this, and other tracks. You know, other tracks either do it or are thinking about doing it. I think Paul towards the end of last season did a half-lap race, which obviously Paul's track is a bit bigger than the one here. But look at the number of children there. That is so good.
Well, it's half-term, of course.
Oh yeah, but it's still fabulous.
I saw Matty Bates on the start line over there. I'm a bit concerned that Matty was having a look at gate 4 just then. I think he's now switched to gate 1.
Yeah, very wise. You want to go around the inside line when you're running.
I'm not sure if that's fair, although I don't know if he'd win.
I think there might be a case of first Ben bunching here, but
yeah, there's a lot of children there, and you know they look forward to this moment.
The Benny Hill music as well is even better.
So that's what it is, and off they go.
I wouldn't have thought it's easy running on that surface. It must feel like it's shifting under your feet, unless you've got the grippy footwear on. Well,
we don't want to get to a point. So Matty Bates, I can tell you, is right towards the back at the moment. But, but maybe he's pacing himself. We'll have to wait and see. It's great to see. It really is great. I mean, this is a bumper crowd at half-term with lots of kids here, and that's what it's all about, as Nigel said.
This is a fierce battle at the front here. Lad coming up on the outside, doing an Ashton Bowden move. Is he going to catch? Yeah, he's got his man right on the line. That was a great finish.
So lollipops, I'm sure, will be available as well from Maximus, wherever he is. He'll be round. Oh, he's at the back, Maximus. At the moment, so he'll be doing.
He always looks after the tail end.
Speedway's a family sport, and as we said, get yourselves here. If you've got kids, bring them too. It's a brilliant event to be a part of. So more serious things going on here in the pits, as you can see. Ben Barker and I say serious, he's but Ben and Nicolai having a chat, Ben and Mark having a chat. So Ben will want to be able to utilise that banking again. Knudsen did a brilliant job of completely neutralising him in that heat.
Yeah. I think he might have been getting Mark's view there on the Mitchell Cluff incident.
Yeah, possibly. I'll keeping my eye out to see if Mitchell comes up here, because it would be, although putting a live mic in front of an Australian who's been wronged is never a great idea, but I know Mitchell's is great with the media, so I'm sure he'd be an absolute gent. But I would love to get his view on what went on there. I can imagine what it would be.
Yeah. But it's So we're in this strange position. We've gone for an interview while we're waiting a rerun, aren't we? So we've still got the rerun of that heat to come before we conclude the last three.
I've just seen Paul, our cameraman, has sent Mitchell up to us. So that's great work, Paul. Well done. I'll give him a wave when he comes up, and we'll hope to get a chat with him. So brace yourselves. Here he comes. We've got all manner of equipment up here. He's got to try and make his way past. Hi, Mitchell. Thanks for coming up. We're on camera as well here. We're keen to get your views, but we're also a bit nervous about your language. But I'm sure you'll be fine. So last time I spoke to you, there was the issue down this bend, which you came out with fine, and then we've had this come up at the other end. Tell us your view on it.
Yeah, the difference was in the first race I didn't touch him, and that race he went straight through. Like, I was trying to protect that inside line. I knew he was there, but my job was to hold that line so he doesn't overtake me. So I done what I had to do to hold the line. He just went all the way through me, and mate, I'm gobsmacked at how I'm excluded from that restart. Like, I've never in my life seen someone from behind come through and take someone blatantly out and then they don't get excluded. Like,
yeah, it was an odd one, and we had to watch the replay, Nigel, and because we were a bit dumbfounded ourselves to begin with.
Just playing devil's advocate, did you feel you locked up a little bit?
Yeah, no, not like it wasn't even on accident. Yeah.
So we can have a look here. So just there is where he's collected you.
He was going through me. Like, you could see he was coming in a lot faster.
Yeah.
And so be it. But I'm not going to run wide just to let him through me. We're here to win races. So why am I going to give him any space? Like, I purposely tried to turn it hard to hold that position. Like, you can see I did slow up, but it's your job when you're behind to slow up with the rider. You got to avoid the rider in front. So I feel like I've been hard done by, but it's a learning curve. It's my first meeting here, and the track got away on me. I couldn't make starts. I was chasing a setup and scratching my head a little bit.
Because your gate in Heat 1 was brilliant, and then
I couldn't make a start. I was like a whole bike behind every time after that. I was struggling hard. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to try my other bike, my other engine next Saturday here, and hopefully that works a bit better.
Yeah, well, hard lines, Mitchell. Sorry it's ended that way, but we've certainly seen enough here to be excited about seeing you again.
Yeah, definitely.
So thanks for that. Thanks for your entertainment, and that's the way it goes.
Just one more quick one. Thank you to all my friends and family who stayed up 4 o'clock in the morning to watch and support me. It means the world to me, and happy birthday to my dad again. I love you.
Brilliant.
Great stuff. So we've got the lineup for Heat 12 here on the screen. Heat 12 then, we've got no rider, it says, off of gate 1. That's because, of course, Mitchell here, who was with us, is excluded. So on his own there in gate 3 in blue, Lasse FREDRIKSEN, and then gate number 2 in yellow, Mitch McDIARMID, and gate 4 in white, Jordan Jenkins.
Yeah, big race for Lasse FREDRIKSEN, this one.
It certainly is, and you do have to feel for Mitchell there, and he kind of said what we thought he would say, didn't he?
Yeah, I as I said, he does slow up a little bit, doesn't he? But as
he's within his rights to do
totally. No, I totally get that.
So we move on. Heat 12 rerun takes up, away they go, and it's FREDRIKSEN who's made a fly once again. It is Lasse FREDRIKSEN who leads. McDIARMID's in that second, but coming around the outside of him is Jordan Jenkins. So the Oxford Cheetahs pairing here, they are the ones with the work to do, but it's FREDRIKSEN in front.
Yeah, brilliant from the Norwegian there, just delivering what the doctor ordered. Jordan Jenkins is going to be on his tail for the whole 4 laps here, but this is crucial for the Gladiators to get a 3-3 out of this if he can hang on at the front, and if anything he's stretching his lead, just looking ever so smooth out front, really enjoying the banking here at the Coliseum, and Jenkins is going to have to pull off a miracle to overtake him here.
He looks like he's pulling away now as the race goes into the 4th lap. Both of the riders for the Cheetahs are trying all sorts of lines there. McDIARMID right out by the fence, he's a brave rider, but it's a 3-all because FREDRIKSEN clings on for the Gladiators to take the win.
Yeah, brilliant from Lasse FREDRIKSEN. That's just what his team needed at this moment. with the Cheetahs having just got their noses in front, it was crucial that the Gladiators didn't let them get any further ahead, and FREDRIKSEN just leading from tapes to flag there and keeping this match very much alive.
Lasse's winning time, 53.39. 53.39. Second in white, Jordan Jenkins, and third in yellow, Mitch McDIARMID. 3 points to Gladiators, 3 to the Cheetahs.
So here is the official result then of Heat 12. It was a win in blue for Lasse FREDRIKSEN, 3 points to him. 2 points to Jordan Jenkins in second in white, third in yellow Mitch McDIARMID, 1 point to him. No score for Mitchell Cluff. It's a 3-all, which means that we are still very tightly shaping up here, 35 points to 36, slightly in favour of the Cheetahs. So FREDRIKSEN doing a lot of the work here early on here. He got out of the start, and as Nigel said, he looked super smooth in that victory. The Cheetahs had no answer to him. Right at the start of the race, they had a little nibble up the inside, had a look, but that was it. He didn't look back from there, FREDRIKSEN.
He got his setup absolutely spot on there, didn't he? Absolutely brilliant. Well, this is going to be an absolute firecracker of Heat 13.
It certainly will, and here we go then. So Heat 13, here is the runners and riders for the Oxford Cheetahs in Gate 1, unbeaten so far this evening. Sam Masters, he's in white, and Cameron Heeps in yellow. And for the Gladiators in red, Nicolai KLINDT, and in blue off the outside, Ben Barker. Tasty.
Can anyone lower Sam Masters' colours? That is the question.
Well, he's been absolutely flawless so far,
so I think
Sam Masters.
If the Gladiators going to win this meeting, they're going to have to beat Sam Masters, I think. It's
well, he'll certainly be in this one and Heat 15, so you're absolutely right. Something's going to need to be done here, and of course Cameron Heeps has been dangerous all evening. He's been very, very quick. So, yep, here we go.
Ben will be looking to bounce back from his disappointing by his standards last ride.
So there's still something going on here for Nicolai KLINDT.
Masters and is that KLINDT in red? They're very close together. That's better. KLINT's got a bit more space now.
So here we go then, Heat 13. Tapes up, away they go. And once again Sam Masters has made a flyer, Cameron Heeps has made a flyer. Problems for Ben Barker. He stopped. So Nicolai KLINDT then, he is the sole Gladiator. But it is the pairing of Masters and Heeps. At the moment they were on a 5-1.
Yeah, I don't know if he's looking at his machine. I thought he might have felt it was an unsatisfactory start. He's pointing towards, I don't know if the referee or not, but he seems to have a bike issue, so maybe he wasn't unhappy about the start, he was just unhappy about what happened to his bike. But, well, this is the last thing the Gladiators wanted, a convincing 5-1 here for the Cheetahs, and which is going to put them on the verge of victory.
Once again Sam Masters just looking absolutely in another league here as he comes round bend 4 to take his 4th win of the evening. It's Sam Masters who wins, and Cameron Heeps in second, a 5-1 to the Cheetahs. And this could be a crucial race result for the visitors this evening.
Yeah, Masters is almost like on another planet, isn't he? He's looking so good out there tonight. I said it'd be amazing if he doesn't go through and complete a 15-point maximum. But yeah, Ben Barker very disappointed. Obviously something happening with his machine there.
53.55. Second in yellow was Cameron Heeps.
So the results then of Heat 13, it was a win in white for Sam Masters, 3 points to him, 2 points to Cameron Heeps in yellow, 1 point to Nicolai KLINDT in red. No score there, of course, for Ben Barker in blue. 5-1 to the Cheetahs. Now it's 36 points to 41. And for the first time this evening, the Cheetahs have now got a bit of a lead. They've been a point ahead for a couple of rides, and now there's a significant lead going into the last 2 races.
But not enough for their Gladiators to bring in a tactical. So what had started off as a brilliant evening for Ben Barker has gone a little bit sour, hasn't it?
It certainly has. He was very fast in his opening 2 rides, and interested to see what's gone wrong with the machine. He was looking at the machine on the infield just now. So Heat 14, we've got Lasse FREDRIKSEN out here.
In number 6 is Lasse FREDRIKSEN, the
Dan Gilkes, of course, who was absolutely flying in the last one. So here is the Heat 14 lineup then for you. In Gate 1 off of the inside here, Lasse FREDRIKSEN, and joining him will be Joe Thompson in Gate 3 in red. For the Cheetahs, Gate 2 will be Dan Gilkes and Mitch McDIARMID off the outside in Gate 4 in yellow. So that's a reserve change there in Heat 14 for the Cheetahs, with the Australian, the exciting Australian who's been in amongst it.
This could be another great race, this one. I mean, FREDRIKSEN and Thompson have been going really well for the Gladiators, but you said Dan Gilkes looked immaculate in his last outing, and McDermott's been Mr. Entertainment tonight, be it legally or illegally, depending on your point of view.
Yeah, well negotiated, Nigel. It's looking worrying for the Gladiators, knowing how well Sam Masters is going, and he will be in the next race almost certainly. So here we go then, Heat 14 is at the tapes, ready to go. And tapes go up, away they go, and it is from gates 1 and 3, the Gladiators pairing off FREDRIKSEN
Joe Thompson.
And Joe Thompson, but Joe Thompson's lost that second place up the inside there. Coming through is the rider in white.
Oh, Joe Thompson just cut back there. McDermott's dived underneath him to make it a 3-3, but Thompson trying to repay the compliment down that back straight. It's FREDRIKSEN out in front looking untroubled, but Thompson's got the work to do.
So Nigel's taken some roost next to me. But here we go then, FREDRIKSEN, he's out in front, but these two Cheetahs look very fast in second and third. Joe Thompson, who did have that second place, now back and forth with no answer for the speed of the Oxford Cheetahs. Round they come for the final time. It's going to be a win then for FREDRIKSEN in blue, but crucially for the Cheetahs, they pack the second and third places. Nigel, are you all right?
Yes. That was a whisker wave hitting me full in the eye, that, so I got away lightly there, I think.
Have to get you some goggles and tear-offs.
Yes, I think so.
So a 3-all then. A 3-all there for, which will be very much in favour of the Oxford Cheetahs here, because it's now 39 points to 44 heading into this final race. So anything but a 5-1 here. So here is the results of Heat 14. It was a win in blue for Lasse FREDRIKSEN. 3 points to him. 2 points there to Dan Gilkes in white. 1 point to Mitch McDIARMID in yellow. And no score there for Joe Thompson in red. A 3-all means it's 39 points to 44.
So they need a 5-0.
Yeah, it's all but over here, isn't it? It's just the 44 is throwing me a little bit.
It is.
Yeah, of course the 0 score earlier on in the day.
And you wonder if Ben Barker will come out, bearing in mind he had bike trouble last time. They might be tempted to put Lasse FREDRIKSEN out the way he's ridden his last 2 rides.
Yeah, he's now on 10 points, Lasse FREDRIKSEN. So he's really been a high scoring reserve. So the stats here, the gate stats, still gate 1 seems to be favourable now. Obviously, only slightly though. 4 wins apiece in gates 3 and 2, and
Gate 4 not the one to be on tonight.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely not.
So Ben Barker's out on the track. Does that suggest he's not going to be in heat number 15?
With Ben, it could mean anything.
Yeah, he might be coming out to pick his line, or I'd probably go KLINDT and FREDRIKSEN.
Yeah, FREDRIKSEN is being spoken to there, so perhaps he's the man who's getting the nod here. He's already had 5 rides.
Masters and Heeps probably for the Cheetahs.
Yeah, maybe.
Mark Phillips just talking.
Yeah, he's talking to the crowd about the meeting.
Let's hope we have a good season. Keep cheering. Excellent. Let's have one more time for Mark.
So Cameron Heeps here is having something done to the bike, so I'm assuming it'll be Masters and Heeps, and as soon as we get confirmation we'll let you know. But it's a shame really, because it almost you know, you could have put good money on it going all the way this
well,
evening.
we said technically it has gone to the wire,
Well.
isn't it? Even though it's an unlikely 5-0 needed to draw. But I think the difference has been in the second half of the meeting, Gilkes and Jenkins have found their form, haven't they? And that's given Oxford a really solid looking lineup all the way through, whereas early in the meeting those two were struggling. And Gladiators were getting the upper hand.
Gilkes, when he hit the front, looked absolutely fantastic. He was like that when he rode here. If he ever hit the front, you couldn't catch him.
But Peter SCHROECK will be delighted with Jonas KNUDSEN and Mitch McDIARMID. I mean, those two new signings for Oxford, and you know, as I said, KNUDSEN scored really heavily and gated brilliantly, and McDIARMID, you know, probably deserves more. He got 6 points. I think his efforts probably deserve more than the 6 points he's got.
Yeah, paid 6, and Knudsen paid 9.
Yeah.
So yeah, good points from those two riders. So here we go then. We've got Sam Masters putting on a white helmet there. So and Cameron's putting on the yellow helmet. So we've got our Oxford Cheetahs lineup there.
And as Mitchell Cluff said, you know, next time he's going to try his other bike, and you know, it's very early days for the Gladiators. You know, testing out machinery on this track and setups, and you know, things that these lads who've never ridden here before need to work on. I'm sure Nicolai KLINDT, he's not done badly tonight, but he'll score a lot more heavily than he has done tonight in weeks ahead, I'm sure. So they've just got to accept that they're a little bit behind the 8 ball in terms of the number of meetings they raced so far this season. And on that basis, this has been a pretty, you know, reasonable start, I think, for the Gladiators.
Yeah, there's certainly hope there, isn't there? But Barker and Fredriksson, I think, are coming out here for the Gladiators. So Cameron Heeps in yellow and Sam Masters in white. We've already had that 5-1 in heat 13.
So is Ben on a different bike?
Yeah, it looks quite clean.
Yeah,
I
think it's his second bike, isn't it?
So Ben Barker on a fresh bit of kit then for this heat 15.
He's going to be very keen to make amends here, isn't he?
He certainly will. And Fredriksson rewarded here with this 6th ride of the evening.
Has Ben got a problem? Surely not. Oh my goodness.
He's got it going again.
He's got it going again.
Something he doesn't look happy with underneath him.
That would have been disastrous as he came out on his second machine, and that had problems as well.
So, heat 15 then, here we go. For Oxford, for the Cheetahs, coming off of gate 1, that favoured gate 1, Sam Masters in white, unbeaten so far this evening. In gate 3, Cameron Heeps in yellow. And for the Gladiators, in gate 2, Lasse FREDRIKSEN in red. And off the outside in blue, Ben Barker. So Sam Masters, this is the 3rd time now for the Cheetahs where he's headed into heat 15 unbeaten. But he's yet to win heat 15.
Yes.
So this could be the time now where he does it. Here we go, heat 15. Tapes go up, away they go. Sam Masters has made the start. Lasse FREDRIKSEN's there on his shoulder. Barker's gone charging up the inside. He's removed Cameron Heeps, and having a go there is the rider in red, Lasse FREDRIKSEN. But look at Sam Masters in front.
Yeah, quality out front. FREDRIKSEN's really giving it stuff on the outside there. He's got Barker in front of him. But yeah, Masters again, several bike lengths clear already, and barring a machinery failure, he's going to romp to a superb 15-point maximum here at the Coliseum.
So it looks like Ben Barker's pulled up at the back. I think there's another problem with that machine. It lifted a little bit going into bends 1 and 2, which means that Sam Masters now has got Cameron Heeps in that 3rd place, picking up a point. So it's a win there for Sam Masters, a perfect 15 for him this evening. He really has been tremendous, the Australian. He duly takes his heat 15 win.
Yeah, just a fabulous display from the Oxford captain there, and all his teammates coming out to give him a round of applause. I don't know if they'll give him the bumps as well. It's very, very delighted, Oxford, with this away win. As I said, they drew with Poole in their opening BSN series match on Wednesday night. Yeah, he's going to get the bumps. Here he goes. So no better way to start your BSN series away campaign than a full 15 points.
So the results then of Heat 15, it was a win, a fifth of the evening for Sam Masters in white. 3 points to him, 2 points to Lasse FREDRIKSEN in red, 1 point to Cameron Heeps in yellow. No score for Ben Barker in blue. It was a 4-2 to the Cheetahs, which means that our result for this evening is 48 points to the Cheetahs, 41 to the Gladiators. Some very interesting racing throughout, but right at the end there, the Cheetahs just had too much.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it before, haven't we, with the Scott Nicholls Masters pairing in recent times. I think they were more solid tonight, Oxford. That's nothing against Scott Nicholls, but there seem to be points coming from all parts of their team this evening. And it's been a great team effort by them. But as I said, Plymouth can take a lot of credit from this. It's very early days in their season. There's a lot of promise. Mitchell Cluff showed, in that first race, or his first outing of the evening, that he's going to be a good signing. Lasse FREDRIKSEN's been excellent. I said that looked a really clever signing from Edinburgh by Garry May, and well, if tonight's anything to go by, that could be an absolute masterstroke. And the other guys just getting valuable track time and sorting their setups out.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots to be learnt here for the Gladiators, lots of experience. But look at this Cheetahs team. They had that disappointment at against Poole, where they went to the last heat decider, and here they are today, obviously delighted with in the end, a fairly comfortable victory, with Sam Masters and Cameron Heeps, it has to be said, being the difference makers with those 2 5-1s. But Jenkins, we said at the beginning, he was one to watch. He's on good form. Dan Gilkes turned things around as well, and Mitch McDIARMID, he's a very impressive Australian.
Yes.
Another one.
It's, I'd be very surprised if they're not there or thereabouts in the playoffs at the end of this. I know this is the BSN series, different competition, but Peter Schrock's put together a very good side there, and it'll be interesting when Gladiators go up to Oxford, because last year Gladiators really pushed them hard around Cowley, so that's going to be a very interesting fixture. Of course, before that, next Wednesday, I think Plymouth are at Poole, aren't they? So in their second BSN series.
So here is the scores for the evening then, Nigel, and you can see there points right the way through, but Lasse FREDRIKSEN top scoring for the Gladiators with that 12, very impressive 6 heats. Alfie BOWTELL paid 7 there, 6+1 is the second highest for, behind Joe Thompson and Ben Barker. Nicolai KLINDT there 6, and Mitchell Cluff. He'll be really disappointed with 2+1, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because he looked better than that, and Ben Trigger, of course, he lost a point as well. So those are the scores for the Gladiators, and for the Cheetahs, there it is. Look, Sam Masters maximum 15 at the top there, and Cameron Heeps 8+2, Knudsen 7+2, Mitch McDIARMID 6+2, and then we've got Jenkins and Gilkes on 5, Killeen with a paid 3, and that equated to 48 points overall, and enough to put the Gladiators to bed here at the Coliseum this evening. The next away live stream happens here. You can see it on the screen. The Pirates will host the Gladiators on the 23rd of April. The next part of this competition, so make sure you get involved with that. There's Speedway here, of course, next Saturday when the Pirates return to the Coliseum. So that's one to get your backsides trackside.
Yeah.
If you can't manage that, then we will be on the live stream, Nigel.
Yes, that's right. No, 2 great meetings to look forward to there. So Pirates are looking very strong as well, and they should be 2 really entertaining meetings.
So wherever you are in the world watching, I hope you've enjoyed this evening's meeting hosted by Gladiators TV. It's been a fascinating encounter between 2 very good sides here at Championship Speedway level. On behalf of Gladiators TV, may I wish you the very best for the next week, and if we don't see you trackside next Saturday here at the Coliseum, we shall see you through the tube on Gladiators TV.